Yes. Yes, sir. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Oh, brother. Roots. Roots. I've been playing some VR, brother.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, man. I was telling you when I watched that intro, I had I call it an Anthony moment, a VR 365 moment when he played Beat Saber for the first time and he kind of teared up. I legitimately felt like, man, Wes nailed this fucking thing, man. The music, everything's so perfect. All those games really solidifying the best of VR games and VR moments. And you went in there and you captured. Those are all scenes from your gameplays, and so kudos to you.
All but one.
Oh,
So everything that you saw in that intro there, uh, it's all stuff that I played, mostly over the last 10 days or so, except for lo-fi. And I didn't want to go into lo-fi, although I do have access to it. I'm saving it. I don't want to spoil
mm,
lo-fi for myself. I haven't been in lo-fi since before the Kickstarter, and I didn't want to go in now and ruin it for myself. I'm not going in until it's ready. So shout out to Blair Renaud, the developer, for uh, providing me access basically to all of the video clips he has. I would imagine he sent me like this huge folder full of stuff. So thank you, sir, and thank you, everyone. Welcome to the show, guys. I guess you can see why we're so late going on now. Like Roots, that guy was in our chat on Wednesday, and he said something about wanting to write our theme song, and I told him, "Nah, bro, I've got it." So I couldn't go live today without having that ready. So that's why we're a little bit late going on. This is only a temporary thing. Next week we'll be back in our normal time slot. But man, I'm digging it.
yeah, I'm digging it as well. And your sister says, "Just wow, awesome." And I agree, man. Like, it's just so cool, and expect more to come because we're gonna be adding more different types of things like that as Wes gets time and feels inclined to do it, and this is really cool.
Yeah, yeah. Baby steps from here on out. Now we have the foundation out. You guys have seen the new look for Wednesday. Now you can see the new look for Sunday, and subsequently the new look for the channel. This is the kind of the channel theme now. Any content we do that doesn't have its own special stuff is going to look like this right here. Um, but now we can build on it, right? And there's still a lot to do that I planned on having done by today, that's not done. I haven't done the social media stuff yet. That's next on the list. So tomorrow, be on the lookout for the Virtual Strangers Twitter, the Virtual Strangers Facebook. That's next on the list. And by the time we get back here on Wednesday, I'll have an outro for you guys. But you know, let's be clear here and set expectations. The outro is just, it's cutting room floor stuff. Just the means for you guys to say goodbye after we
Mm.
say goodbye.
I
Uh,
thought this
so
was the
so don't.
outro. I thought that what you did today, I thought was the outro, and then you started like lining out. Okay, this is how we should roll it out in the beginning, and I was like confused for a second. I said, "Well, this isn't the outro." But no, man. See, that's how awesome is this. That was the intro, bro. We're gonna have another outro, and like Wes said, it's more about that time, right? Just to hang out. So,
Well, for the outro, I actually I was in a game called Scanner Sombra the other day. And after I went off the air, I was streaming it. After I went off the air, I killed myself intentionally, and it made this weird glitch effect with all these weird colors streaming across the screen, and it looked really cool. So I
mm,
said, you know what, that'd make a great background for an outro. So I hit record on it. I'm going to put some music behind it, and put some words on top of it. Thanks to the Patreons and all that good stuff. Thanks to everybody for tuning in, and that'll be the outro. But I haven't had time to do it yet. I've got to. It'll take me 30 minutes when I
mm.
get started on it, but I just haven't started on it yet.
Well, how cool is this? Decepticon says, "Holler if you ever need tunes, he'll make something." So we want something original. We want something self-created. We got the offer right there, so we might just take you up on that offer sometime.
That's awesome, man. Thank you, Decepticon. I'm always so jealous when I hear these we have a lot of content creator friends, and I ask them, where do you get your logo? Where did you get your intro? And everyone always says, well, I had a friend in my community do it.
Mm,
So and so offered, and nobody's ever offered to do anything like that for us. Everything we've ever done, we've either had to make it ourselves or hire someone. So to have Decepticon offer, that's really cool. And
mm,
Dark Angel asked, where did the music come from? This is just a song that I found after hours and hours of listening to the YouTube audio library. This is just a free to use song that YouTube provides.
mm.
Uh, you got to listen to about 20 bad ones to find a good one, but I found about 30 good ones. And then I found this one, which I felt like was perfect.
It
And
is.
Roots felt the same. Eric felt the same. So we built up an intro around it.
Let me tell you why it's perfect. Because if you didn't know better, it sounds like the music to Rick and Morty, even though it's not. And so, like, it has that, like that nostalgia almost, like a memorabilia thing, and it's not even connected. It's just really good music, and it fits. And then, like I said, it's funny. It's funny listening to Wes say what he just said about the other content creators, because that's kind of how I felt about you with this clip, dude. Because, like, you know what I mean? Like, we were thought about sending these clips out to somebody else and having them put it together, and Wes was very unsure if he could even do it. And now I'd be like, dude, we'd be stupid to send it to somebody else, and we probably wouldn't be as good. Like, you could be doing it for somebody else. That's how good I feel like that clip was. And so kudos again to you, Wes. Uh, it's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. Two reasons I didn't send it out. And I already had a group vetted and ready to do this. Two reasons I didn't send it out and hire it out. One, I wanted to do it today, and I just finished recording all of the footage like the day before yesterday. We wouldn't have had it today if I'd sent it out to get it done. Second of all, there was a few, like, the whole thing might seem like it's synced up pretty well with the music, but there's only a few spots in it that are truly planned, synced up stuff. And I was afraid that if I sent it out, that the people wouldn't be able to hit the cues just right with the music to the clips. So luckily that worked out, and it turned out good.
Yeah,
Thanks.
I think
Thanks
you
again.
had an idea in your head and you were able to flesh it out. And so that's why I say no one could, even if someone could it'd be hard to for someone to get in your head. So Derail says if you need a fluffer, he knows somebody. Um,
My
Well,
we
mom!
already got somebody, bro. And don't be stepping on her toes.
you can never have enough Roots. Never
Oh,
have
that's
too
true.
many fluffers.
That's true. I never thought
Anyway,
we'd say that on this show, but you're right. That is very true.
Anyway, shout out Masher, by the way, who came in early with the $10 donation. He says that's so epic. I'll donate $10 to ourselves.
Hell yeah, Masher.
So
Really?
thanks, man.
Yep.
We appreciate your contribution, sir.
Yep.
Um,
Absolutely.
Anyway, outside of all this brand new shiny new stuff, we got lots of cool VR news to talk about. Before we do that, let's quickly run down what's going on with the channel here. As many of you already know, it's Virtual Strangers 2.0. We're rolling out new stuff, and promised you guys last week that it's not just cosmetic stuff, and I mean that. While the Sunday show, with the exception of a couple of small things, the Sunday show is going to stay content wise exactly like it always has been. There is going to be loads of new things, substantial new things coming to the channel. Um, we've got, first of all, we've got some new concepts for what we want to do on the Wednesday show, and we'll kind of demonstrate that to you this Wednesday. We've also got a new series. Should we go ahead and tell them what the new series is going to be, Roots?
Sure. Yeah, why not? We're unveiling stuff, no time like the present.
Anyway, we've been planning for some time now to do a series called On Location. And what On Location is going to be, uh, I mean, some would call it an interview show, but it's not what your typical interview show would be. So we've made a lot of friends over the last couple of years while we're doing this. A lot of friends in the industry, developers, content creators, and the like. Anyway, On Location is a show where we are going to invite our friends to meet us in VR somewhere. It could be a social app, it could be a game. Um, and have a discussion with us. Now, the discussion isn't necessarily going to be about the game that we're in. The game is just a venue, and hence the name On Location. The discussion isn't necessarily even going to be about the guest and their work. The idea here is that we're going to invite our guests from the industry to get away from their work, to meet us in VR, to have some fun, and to talk about the tech that we all love. So, really, more than an interview, it's going to it's going to be some of the people that we've come to know over the last couple of the years from the industry, kind of joining us as a guest host in a game as we play, or again a social app, and as we talk about different topics. So we have a ton of great. You guys aren't going to believe the guests that we've got lined up who have given us verbal agreements to do this. It is going to be a pre-recorded thing on most occasions. We might get brave and do one live at some point, but it's a nice thing to be able to reassure some of these people that it is pre-recorded in case they shit the bed in one of these games. That we don't have to embarrass them in front of everybody. But we've got awesome guests lined up. Uh, we've probably got, I don't know, 10 to 15 different guests already verbally committed to it, and we haven't even really started putting invites out yet. So be on the lookout for that. It will not be a weekly show. It's just going to be a special thing that happens, every few weeks, once a month maybe. But it's going to be a special episode, special by definition. So I can't wait to get in there and start producing these episodes. Roots.
Yeah, absolutely. Somebody in the chat said John Carmack. Oh wait, that was me, and I clarified and said no. A Gaben would be awesome, Spry Guy. If anybody knows Lord Gaben, let him know that we love his products and his store, and we want him on our show On Location. That'd be awesome, right?
Well, look, guys, if you want guests like that, we can get guests like that. But the only way we get guests like that is if you share the channel, let people know about the best kept secret on YouTube, as Roots likes to call it. Let people know about our channel. And the more people know about our channel, the bigger that little number beside the red button gets. And the bigger that number gets, the more influence that we have and the bigger guests that we can invite on and actually have accept the invitation. But you guys aren't going to believe some of the guests that have already accepted. So we're already dating up, right? We're out. We're bringing in guests that are out of our league as it is. I got to imagine, Roots, that these guys just must recognize passion.
Yeah.
A real passion for the tech, and we've had a lot of great friends over the years kind of prop us up, so it'll be nice to kind of get them in here and put a spotlight on them for a change.
Yeah, absolutely. Mepper says, "Hey, Eric, if Eric can get Zuck to show up for a stream, then we can get high. That I'd love to get Zuck in there, man. That'd be cool to actually play a game with Mark. You know what I mean? I think it'd be cool." And then Phil Yarn says, "My beard deserves an interview. It's epic. It is epic and out of control. I'm trying to figure out how to keep it more tamed because it is, like when you're, I'm assuming." Most people have this issue. It's been decades since I've had this issue, but when you wash your hair, but you only use shampoo and don't have conditioner, and it wants to go. That's my beard, and so I don't know. Maybe if should be using conditioner. I don't know. I'm so confused.
Beard oil. That's what people say. Beard oil.
Yeah, I've heard the same thing, but beard oil, it doesn't. There's a lot of beard, bro. I can't beard oil this thing. I'll be using a bottle or two a day. I don't know.
Crisco, bro. Get Crisco and Afro Pick.
I thought about mousse. You know what I mean? Like, because you can really style it. Because I don't. A lot of people say cut it, shape it. I'm not gonna do the metrosexual shaping of my beard. It's not happening. It's just, it is what it is. The whole reason why I have this beard is it's no fuss, no muss. Just let it do its thing and go wild. Except for a little bit of trimming around my mouth so I can eat.
You could braid it up and do like the Mike Beltran, double braids.
Cultural appropriation. I don't want to get in trouble. But yeah, there's a lot of suggestions out there, a lot of options.
Derail has a good one. Anyway, Rubber Cat
No.
asks, shit the shit the bed in VR. Is that a Servios game? Actually, that's something you can do in Lust for Darkness. I hear.
Oh God. Have you played that yet? I heard that was pretty crazy.
No,
I want to hear what
no,
that's all
man.
about.
You saw the intro, man. You know what I've been playing. I've been playing all that, plus a
Oh,
bunch of other games that didn't even make the cut. Like I've got so many clips, dude, that it didn't even get in there. I've played more like a bigger variety of VR games over the last 10 days than at any other period in my history in VR. I've played so many games, and it's not just as easy as getting in there and playing 5 minutes as you would think it would be.
mm-mm.
These are the best games in VR, man. Good luck trying to play 5 minutes. Like I play at least 30, right? I play at least 30 of each of the games, and then you have to go back and make clips out of it.
All right, find the best spots, right? But you already had an idea of what it was, which one, these epic moments, right? That kind of made your jaw drop. And so I think it's cool. That's why it's made with love. You could take somebody that didn't know anything about VR and they could have clipped out. Who knows what the hell they would have clipped out? Wouldn't have meant shit. But to us VR people, that one meant a lot.
Anyway, there's another version of that coming with some of the other footage. A lot of great games didn't get in there. VR didn't get in there. Crashland and Swarm didn't get in there. Hellblade didn't get in there. So many games that I actually took footage of, but I didn't have time to clip it out, so it didn't make the cut. But we're going to have multiple versions of the intro, and we're just going to kind of rotate them out anyway. That's not like a set intro. That's just one of the intros. We're gonna have a bunch of them.
And we like to switch it up, man.
Absolutely. One more thing before we say hello to our friends who are joining us tonight. Just a reminder out there to anyone watching or listening to go back to our previous episode, The Strangers of the Night. This past Wednesday, we have 2 active giveaways going on that video. All you have to do is subscribe and leave a comment saying that you want to enter, and you could win a copy of In Death Unchained for Oculus Quest, or you could win a copy of Synth Riders for the platform of your choice.
Oh, wow.
Again, all you got to do is go back to Strangers in the Night from this past Wednesday, subscribe, leave a comment saying that you'd like to enter the giveaway, and we will put your name down. We'll be back this Wednesday to draw winners. And for my audio people out there, instead of having like a giveaway just for the audio people. I think what we're going to do with that other in death key roots is we're going to do a social media giveaway. We're going to have new social
Oh,
channels going up tomorrow. So I'll announce it on Wednesday, um, and I'll give everyone the links to our new social media outlets, and we'll give away that in death key through like Twitter or something, so that it'll give people a good reason to get in there and follow.
talk about a great way to share the channel, right? Through social media, Twitter, that type of stuff. I see gaming science teacher tweeting shit she's hard at work on Twitter for VR. She's like one of the hardest working teachers I've ever seen for virtual
Yeah,
reality,
man.
which is super cool.
Yeah, I kind of dread it, to be honest, because throughout the show's history, the only social media that I've ever really engaged with is Twitter, and I've done it through my personal account. And now I'm getting to the point where, like, people are following me every day on there. Like, I've got 3, 4, 5 people following me, many of which are game developers, and I've gotten to the point where I don't know exactly how many. I don't keep up with it like that, but I've got 7, 8, 900 followers, somewhere in that range, and now I got to start all over again and try to
Mm,
build up virtual strangers from zero. So I'm going to be leaning on all of you out there to help me with that. It will be no small task, but I think you guys are up to it.
there's got to be a way that people use their existing Twitter to funnel people over to the other Twitter as well. At least the people that want to follow the channel, right?
Yeah.
So,
Well, I'll put it out there in every way that I can. I'll tweet with my other account, and I'll send it out there to people who might be interested, our developer friends and such. and of course all of you in the community. I'll share it on Discord. Um, but you know, it's weird, man. People are weird about stuff like that. Even if it is just a click, like it takes a lot to get people to actually click on it. So um,
I don't
we'll
get
see
it.
how it goes.
I don't get it. I see it all the time, man. People don't, they'll watch videos, they'll comment, and this is on other channels. They'll be saying how great the channel is, but they're not subscribing, you know, even by their own admission. I don't know. It's weird. It's or vice versa, man. Like you could make a channel about something and then you could change it overnight, and most people would still stay subscribed, and they don't even know it's for something else. You know what I mean? Like it's so bizarre. I don't understand it.
Kazi says, don't forget to post it on Mastodon. And I don't know what Mastodon is except for the band Mastodon, which
Mm,
fucking rocks. I love Mastodon. But if that's a platform of some sort, I've never heard of it.
maybe Onikazi, maybe you could post it from on Mastodon for us. 'Cause, we don't know what it is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if it's like a social media platform that's created by and run by Mastodon, I'll just join it myself.
Yeah,
But if it's not that, then I probably need a little help.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, you'll get it too from Wolf Raza here in a second.
EV Man versus Gas says, click thumbs up. I concur. Please, friends, click thumbs up, click the bell, click the button, click all the things. Um,
Comment.
and that's enough. I guess that's going to be enough, Roots, about what we plan to do in the near future. Anyway, just continue to watch everywhere as we transform. I redid the YouTube homepage, Roots. I did manage to get that done. I don't know if you've checked it out yet or not. But we have new playlists on there. We have a new thing at the bottom highlighting our friends' channels down there. And of course, we've got the animated logo up in place of that Jupiter video, which is now going to be replaced again by the intro video that we just debuted a few minutes ago.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all changing, bro. Even the Discord's got shit going on in there. So it's
D-Rail says he loves Blood and Thunder. I do too, man. That I blast that song all the time in my car. How's this for an idea, Roots? A metal band who did a full album of songs that they wrote about the novel Moby Dick, and
yeah,
it rocks, and it rocks.
that sounds intriguing to me.
It's really good. It's really good. Mastodon's awesome. Um, Yeah, Mash Daddy says getting subscribers or group members is not as easy as people think. Says the guy who gets like friggin' 2,000 followers a week on Facebook. Yeah, you're right though. It is. It's a difficult proposition persuading people just to click the things, right?
Yeah. Well, it's an uphill battle with our this type of content, but we've got to we're almost to the hump. It's almost ready to go downhill. You know what I mean? Or I guess that doesn't sound right. As far as easiness, in my opinion, and the algorithm picks up. Where you know what I mean? There's I believe we're putting out good content. That's really what matters, right? So
Right. That is what matters. And for those of you who followed us from day one, know that we're not playing the game. Like people who are in this space, not just in VR, but in general on YouTube, they all play that game, right? They go and they learn and read about the algorithm and try to tailor their content to what the algorithm wants. I try to tailor the content to what you want and what I want, what I would like to watch.
mm,
And you know, for all the shiny bells and whistles that we've got going on here, the format remains the same.
yep.
Discussion based content for the hardcore VR enthusiast. That's what we make. That's what we're always going to make. No thumbnails of me going or whatever, you know. And you know, if you do that, you know that's good on you. I'm not trying to talk bad about people. I get it. I'd love to do this for a living myself, but I'm only going to do that if I can do it my way. Like if I have to jump through a bunch of hoops and make content for algorithms instead of people, then I don't want to do this for a living. You know what I mean? I'd rather just uh, go to work and do something else and make some real money. Um, so we're gonna keep it real, folks, as we always have, and hopefully YouTube catches on to that and catches up with it. And hopefully, now that we have a bit more of a professional appearance, people might be a little more likely to share our content with their friends.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, I would rather do what we're doing, which is exactly what we're going to keep doing, and stay with the same 1,230 people or whatever. And you know what I mean? You always want to grow, but like, you know what I mean? I'd rather do what we're doing. I do it for fun. I'd love to do it for a living as well. I don't have any expectations. So the day it's not fun for me is the day I'm out the door. And that's why I just make it fun. I just think it's fun to do. And
Yeah. And could you imagine what we would be able to do if we had that kind of time to put into it? Like
oh God.
everything we're doing here, we're just doing. I'm doing it pretty much instead of sleep. Like when normal people would be sleeping, I'm doing channel stuff. So like that's the only time I've got for it. If I had the 40 hours per week that I put into my job to do this, geez, dude, I might have videos with thumbnails of me going, you
I
know,
think
I
I
just
think you would, and they'd be very successful. And maybe we'll get to that point. But until the meantime, or in the meantime, we'll continue putting out content that we think people. I think you nailed it. What we want, what I would want, what you would want. That's or what Masher would want. That's why we started the podcast. Is there was nothing out there that was giving us what we wanted. Right? We were in the desert wanting water, and people were giving us sand. Yeah, actually, I guess they were giving us like something that was like water, but not exactly what we wanted. So
soda.
yes,
Isn't it the
soda.
worst thing when you're like really really thirsty and you have a real need for like water or some kind of like Gatorade or something, and somebody hands you like this thick ass soda? Like,
Mhm.
no way, bro.
I get offered all the time during the summer customers of drinks, and I tell them the same thing. Do you have water? "Oh, I got a soda. I'll pass because I don't want to
You
drink.
mean like that stuff in the toilet?
Yeah, water from the toilet. Hey, dude, we're in Idiocracy, man. I need to watch that again, see the similarities, because I think we are going to be starting to water our plants with Brondo pretty soon. Our Gatorade, I guess, is what we do it. So
Hey, this is my water right here.
that's right. Well, it
Uh,
keeps you alive.
Anyway, enough bloviation. Why don't we get into it here? Say hello to our friends in chat. Derail, Onakazi, Traveling Man, all in the chat, as is Decepticon. Decepticon says continue making solid content. That's
Thank
what we're going to do. Ion the Icon is in the house. What's up, friend? Wolveraza is in the house as well as Zayla Maru. Masher, of course, in there as well. Um, Got VR legs says Chop Suey Beat Saber. That sounds fun.
you.
Chop Suey Beat Saber, although it would probably tire me out about halfway through it. Um, Daniel Kaz is in there. Says he's only on YouTube and Reddit. That's pretty much it for me too, besides Twitter. And honestly, I barely even read it. People on there just their attitudes sometimes piss me off. Um, EV
Reddit
Man versus
sucks.
Gas. Yeah, I know, man. I know it's so bad. If I go and like take this episode to Reddit after we finish up, they're going to crucify me for it. Not only for promoting myself, but for posting a video that's longer than 10 minutes. Like they're not having it over there.
Yeah, they
Uh,
might be okay with timestamps. If we are time stamped beforehand, people are lazy. That's what it comes to. They're like, okay, you got an hour and a half video. Tell me the gist of it in 5 seconds. Go. And
right.
it's not happening.
Yeah, tell me what's in the video, bro. I don't have time to watch it. You have time to leave me 10 freaking comments and have a conversation in the comments, but you don't have time to watch my video, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
but if you made a 2 minute video that was cookie cutter like everybody else's, people thumb the shit out of it. Dude, let me share that a million times. I'm going to give you 10 awards, and it's crazy.
Phil Yarn is in the house, as is EV Man versus Gas. Mr. Tasselhoff, what's up? He's dropped by to say hi really quickly before he had to go crash out past his bedtime. Um,
It's an extra hour, Wes. I mean, it's hard than normal, right? It's like 10:30
yeah,
normally for you if it was normal day.
well, that's right. That's right. That explains a lot, actually. I didn't even think about that. Rich Bigsby 69. What's up? What's up? Dark Angel, hello, hello. Ashley, my sister, what's up? Thanks for stopping by. Burger Cat, I think we already said hello to. Terry Church, what's up? Thanks for hanging out with us. Um, let's see. Scrolling up to the top, Zayla Maru up top. What's up, man? Says I've been saving for lo-fi as well. Yeah, like I want the finished product there. I don't want to ruin lo-fi for myself at this point. I've waited, all this time and managed not to go in there. I'm not going to ruin it now. Decepticon in the house. Ah, yee. What's up, Decepticon? Um, and of course, as we get to the top, Spry Guy. Spry Guy says it's happening. It is happening. Finally, after all this time, Roots, it is happening. So, hello, friends. Hello, one and all. I think they're here to hear us talk a little bit about VR. Roots, what do you think?
I think so. I agree 100%. I think we should, I guess, get some stuff, talk about some stuff, right? I get tongue
Yeah,
tied.
and
I'm getting so excited.
You know what would help with that if I brought my my show notes up. I didn't even
Oh, well,
didn't
hey.
even have my show notes up before we started the show. I forgot all about it. I got concentrating on hitting all the marks for the new intro. I forgot all about uh the show notes. That's
Yeah.
not good.
Well, that's all right, though. The show notes will unfold themselves, right? I'll tell you what, there is a lot of good stuff going on in these notes, right? Or in this news.
Every week, man. Every week, there's more and more and more, and I keep waiting for there to be a natural break because we're getting ready to go into 2021 show season. We've got to pick categories. We got to pick nominees. We got to play these games,
Mm.
man, to refresh our memories. I keep waiting for there to be a natural break in the game releases so we can have time to do all this stuff. But man, it is not happening, not yet, anyway.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, we may just have to do an impromptu news blitz somewhere in that month of doing stuff, right? If something big enough comes out. Technoglitch says he's left out again. We left out of tech. We played some Blood for Truth last night. That was really good. I didn't leave you out of that. What you left out, bro? Did you miss the announcement?
I don't know. Maybe he missed.
Oh, you didn't
I don't know.
announce him. Technoglitch is in the chat. Hey, what's up, Tech? Thank you for stopping
Was
by.
he up there? Had he said something before that?
I'm assuming he did. That's the only thing that makes sense. He's feeling like we screwed him. We screwed him over,
Oh,
bro.
you know what it is? You know what it is? I
Top
bet.
chat.
I'm on top chat.
Kevin, I'll tell you what, dude. You're my number one, bro. You're the only one that I will go out and make you and Scion make time to play some flat games with, bro. I'll tell you what, that blood for left for what the hell is the name of the game? I keep getting it mixed up. That new Left 4 Dead game is amazing. It's it's just crazy, dude. It's really getting me hyped up for after the fall.
Yeah, man. After the fall, can't wait for that one. Can't wait for. I mean, we got a few games getting ready to hit. Technical Glitch says, "LMAO, you f me." Like, dude, I scrolled up. You didn't say anything. I don't see any comments up through there. Even after I went to live chat.
Yeah. He's thought it, and we were supposed to pick it up in the ether.
Maybe he was like way up at the top. Like when I see Spry Guy, I stop. Like that's the top, dude.
That's true.
Everything before Spry Guy is like that's pre-show.
No, that's true. And there is a point where if you're on early enough, it will cut it off if you don't see it right at the beginning. So that's true. Radio Run made it. Yeah. Radio Run, Idaho.
Thanks for stopping by Technoglitch. Thanks for stopping by Radio Run. You guys be sure to run it back and catch the new intro video. Like it was.
Yeah, you guys don't want to.
Let me just go ahead and spoil it for everybody. It was the highlight of the show.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. You might as well turn it off. It's over, man.
It's all downhill from here. So sorry to burst your bubble. Anyway, why don't we get into it? Let's start off headlines the way we have pretty much every week for the last 6 or 7 weeks by talking about what's going on with the Oculus Quest, or should I say MetaQuest, because the Oculus Quest is now the MetaQuest the branding is already starting to take place, Roots. There's already MetaQuest uh, promo stuff out there in the wild.
Well, I guarantee you that's what those packages that sadly it's Bradley's thought was the pros, right? Crest Pros. It must have been displays, new packaging. I wouldn't be surprised if, well, I don't know, man. I just saw a picture of, I don't know where it was. It was somewhere, GameStop or something, and they had stacks of them, right? And they were like, wow, it was on the Facebook group, and they were saying how there were so many of them, right? And I don't remember if they said Meta on them or not. Like you would think they would have either recalled them or maybe they will at one point. The stores will just one day pull all of that shit and send it back to Oculus, or I guess Meta, send it back to Meta. I don't want to offend Mark. And then they'll put out all the ones with the Meta on there instead of Oculus, right? You got to figure that the branding, as much as it's going to have to take place on the packaging as well, right?
Well, if they do that, they might as well just go ahead and double the storage again while they're at it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's what they did last time they recalled all this stuff.
That's true. That is very true.
You know, I got an email from GameStop yesterday saying, "Tell me to bring my PlayStation in and sell it for up to $300. PlayStation 4, mind you. They're claiming up to $300 for a PlayStation 4 like Pro, which is nuts because I only paid like $399 when it was brand new and just came out. So that's weird, man. Why are they giving so much money for these PlayStations?
Well, maybe they need the parts, dude. You know, I mean, stuff they can reuse or something. I don't know. We're entering a different time. You know, we live in a time where everything's been readily available. But if you think back to World War II, that time they were very good at frugal and they got used to fixing stuff, right? Because they had no choice. And so I kind of feel like as a whole, the world is kind of getting used to recycling stuff. Maybe it's a good thing. People aren't just throwing a bunch of shit. We're going to be forced to reuse stuff, Wes.
Absolutely. Traveling Man 3775 says it's Oculus for me. They'll realize their mistake and switch it back. I think that there's still value in doing something with the Oculus name. I mean, they've built this brand for 5 years now. Just to throw it away doesn't really make much sense. I think that they should at least keep it uh, for their game studios, like the Oculus Studios. And I think I heard somebody say that that's what they're going to do. That their Oculus Studios are still going to be Oculus Studios, and I think that's very smart. And all of their gaming focused stuff, whether it be software or hardware, should be Oculus branded. And then all of social media and metaverse stuff outside of gaming, you can just brand all that Meta.
Yeah, I agree. You know, I do like that logo right there, though, right? With the Oculus, with everybody kind of hanging out, the 3D way it looks. So, I don't know.
Yep, I agree. Anyway, I expect that there are going to be a lot of meta quests entering the wild over the next year or so, and this next headline is going to play a pretty big role in that, in my opinion. We've always said at Roots that headline Meta plans physical stores to showcase headsets and glasses. So this is a big deal. Um, we've always said that there needs to be a place, a place where people can go, where they have VR headsets and where they have people who are knowledgeable about VR to give people demos, basically, and sell people VR. I mean, Apple has the Apple stores, Microsoft has the Microsoft stores. We need an Oculus store, a Meta store, if you will. Well, apparently, Roots, it's on the way, and I think that this is the best idea they've had in a long time.
Well, that'll definitely be a good place to go if you have a problem or if you want to just check it out, right? Demo. I don't know, man. You know, I was reading the article, and one of the things that I was reading about it is they, you know, as they were talking about it, they then they went on to say that they're not sure if they're going to do it for sure or not. Like it's an idea that they plan on doing, but it's kind of, to me, I took it as, you know, it could happen, and it also very well could not happen. And they're kind of depending on what's going on with the world, right? We go through another lockdown, you ain't going into any store, let alone especially to put shit on your face.
That's
And
true.
So, but hopefully this I think this is good in general because it tells you that um, yeah, things are moving forward. So
When you think about all the money that they've invested, to get the masses into VR, I got to feel like opening up, 30 to 50 locations across the United States would be a drop in the bucket for their funding. And I think it would go a long way. Putting these in malls, like it's going to be an instant attraction. Like people are going to just go there to hang out. Like anybody that's at the mall hanging out uh, is going to stop by the Meta store before they leave
hmm,
and demo Space Pirate Trainer or whatever it is they have on display at the moment, Beat Saber or whatever whatever user friendly game they want to put people in. And I'm sure, I mean, these are the smartest people in the world. I'm sure that they could come up with a way to do it hygienically and safely and I mean, you talk about kind of that moment that really turns the exponential curve. I think something like this could make a really big difference. If we can get back to something that's similar to the before times where people were going out and just hanging out in public, which we've bounced back a lot, honestly, over the last 6 months.
true.
So if things keep trending in the direction that it has been, I could see this being a very good idea sometime next year.
Yeah, I agree. And I was actually read an article yesterday or the day before, and it was talking about them repurposing strip malls for VR for the metaverse, right? And I thought,
Yeah.
wow, can you imagine if you're not even using somebody else's stuff. You just go down to the mall with your headset and go into the metaverse or whatever games or experiences in huge areas. It'd be pretty cool, right? So
Onikazi says Space Pirate Arena with how desolate malls are anymore. I know, right? They could have an epic match, or since they're at the mall, they could have the virtual sailboat. Where you put the headset on and you look at the picture with all the dots and try to relax your eyes and see the sailboat.
yeah,
But
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Well, who is it? Onikazi says it. They call it Xanadu. And yes, Mepper, that is the Olivia Newton-John movie. Now, I remember seeing that kid as a movie, man. That was a trip. Weird movie.
I have no idea, but I'll take your word
It's
for it.
like a musical movie, and they were on roller skates or something, and they were singing, and it had John Travolta. I think John Travolta was. It was weird, dude. I'd like to watch it now, Colorado timed, because I only remember it as a kid, and it was bizarre.
Uh, Daniel Kaz says that we're COVID spiking in Michigan. My sister has it now. Very sorry to hear that. But we will pray for her. Um, I hesitate talking on this stuff a lot of the time because, unfortunately, medical information has become politicized in our country these days, and I try to stay away from hot button issues like this. But I do want to just say one thing on this since Daniel brought it up here. Um, the doctor's word isn't gospel. And what I mean by that, if you ever find yourself in the situation, Daniel, where they tell you that she's not going to make it, that she's suffering, that you just need to take her off the vent and let her go, don't listen to them. Listen to yourself. Listen to what you think is right. And the reason I say this is because over the last month, we've known of two different people who have come down with COVID, gotten it really bad, went into the hospital, went on the life support, and was instructed by the doctors to just let them go, take them off the vent, let them go. Um, in both cases, our friends, their family refused, and some 1 week after the doctors were ready to let these people die, they came back, and one of them is almost fully recovered, and the other one's just starting to come back too. But it just goes to show that these doctors, they don't care. Like it's their work, it's their job. It's just a job to them. These are your loved ones, And if you really care about these people, you'll do what you think is right, and realize that the doctors are just people too, and they're flawed just like everyone else. And I just wanted to put that out there, because again, if these doctors had their way, we'd be less a couple of friends right now. Thank God. Uh, thank God that we aren't.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, thank God they were able to recover in the hospital, and the doctors took care of him as well. So, like you said, it's double edged because they just want to help people as well, and they think that's the right answer, and I think you're right. Everybody's answer is different. Maybe somebody's answer is to listen, um, and that's your answer. But I agree with you. I think that the answer is to go with your gut.
Daniel Cass says the second leading cause of death is medical mistakes. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Anyway, let's get away from this heavy stuff and
Yeah,
get
dude, this
back
is crap. Let's talk about
on
VR.
anyway, I think physical stores would be a great idea to help continue to grow the VR ecosystem. And for what it's worth, headline Zuckerberg says that Meta will continue to subsidize headset costs. Now, this really shouldn't come as any kind of big surprise, because this is pretty much what they've done the entire Oculus Quest era, is sell headsets at cost or at a small loss, enable to in order to be able to help VR grow faster. And in addition to that, they're also pricing out their competition or potential competition, because we've seen over the last 6 months that lots of companies can make headsets that are technically capable of competing with Oculus Quest, but no one can do it for $300. Only Facebook, Meta can do that.
Yeah, and if people don't think that's an issue, then they aren't living in the real world. Because I I don't want to say I talk to more people than anybody, but I bring up VR to everybody. Doesn't matter what age, they're 80 years old. I'll throw out there, what are your thoughts on Resident Evil 4 coming to VR? And they look at me like I'm crazy. Sometimes they blow me away and they start talking about it. And across the board, the biggest thing I hear from people that know about VR but aren't aware of where we're at in VR is that they're still throwing out that same thing. I can't afford it. That's like $1,000, right? And then I tell them, no, Facebook put out Quest. What do I call it? Meta. Now Facebook is usually what I'll say. Put out a headset, and it's only $300, man. It's one of the, and I tell them the same thing. It's one of the best headsets I've ever used. Super clear, and it's wireless. Doesn't need a computer, but you can hook it up to a computer. You can hook it up to a computer wirelessly. And I'm blowing their mind when I'm telling them it's only $300. And the same thing I tell people, and in the same breath, is they're losing money on this thing. Like, this thing is technologically more advanced than what they should be charging. So these are all reasons why people should be running out and picking it up. You know what I mean? It's something that maybe you thought was unattainable only, well, I guess 5 minutes ago, before I had this conversation with this guy. And I guarantee I've sold headsets. As a matter of fact, I've had people tell me when I've came back months later, they picked it up. So it's just about letting people know what's out there, right?
Absolutely, absolutely right. And people are starting to learn, but we still have miles to go. And it's good to know that, until we get there, that Facebook's still going to eat a little bit of the cost, with regards to spreading the hardware love. Um, D-Real says I subsidized it with my thousands in game purchases, right? And Mepper says, I wonder to what extent Sony views the Quest as competition for Sony's coming VR. I don't think that they really look at it that way. First of all, because VR is just one of many things that they're doing. It's not the whole show like it is for Meta. But besides that, I'm sure that they view what Meta's doing as important to the sector that they're getting ready to jump back into. But if I were them, the way I would look at the Quest user base, or the Meta user base, I would look at it as a foundation to build upon. Because now Meta's put all the money in and did all this work to break through into the mainstream consciousness. Now I'm going to take advantage of that. Not only am I going to pick off some of the new users that would have went to Quest, I'm going to pick off some that already have a Quest because a, a certain number of people who get into standalone VR are going to want something more, right? They're going to want more fidelity. They're going to want bigger, more rich games. But that doesn't necessarily mean that people want to go throw down $1,500 on a gaming PC, or even if they could afford it, it doesn't mean that people are going to want all the friction that comes with PC gaming. Well, here comes Sony to offer kind of a bridge, right? That they're going to be offering fidelity and quality that PC can only PC can offer, but they're also going to offer the ease of use and accessibility of a console. So I think that more than I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm sure to some extent they look at Meta as competition, but I think even more so than that, they look at Meta and their user base as a foundation to build upon.
Yeah, yeah, because they're opening the door, like you said. They're getting all these people aware of VR, and then Sony's going to come out with this product that's going to be superior, because it is going to have haptics in the headset. It is going to have the next gen dual sense controllers, which is one of the reasons why I tell people all the time that, and one of the reasons why PlayStation 5 is the best console out there, the best one I've ever used. It's going to be, that's all going to translate that the hard drive load speeds, all of that is going into VR. That's going to be an advantage as well. So we got to remember that. And Onikazi, just I was going back to what we were saying just a second ago. Another thing, this is the second thing I run into when I'm talking to people about VR all the time. They will say, "Oh yeah, I've tried VR, and it wasn't that good." And 99.9% of the time, I said, "Oh, is it the one that the phone would win in?" And they're like, "Yeah." And then I'll tell them, "Well, that was garbage. That was like the one of the earliest versions of it, and it's night and day different now. Like you didn't even have a controller when you had that shit, right? At least as far as I know. I don't know. Did you? I don't. All I know is that the Gear VR to me was the gimmick. It was at that point it was a gimmick. You could slide your phone in, and it made you could get an idea of what VR is. But yeah, that's the second thing that I see all the time, and then I have to explain to them that's not what VR is anymore. So
I mean, if you had $1,000 Samsung phone, Gear VR was good for what it was. I mean, those things had super high quality displays on them. I mean, this was before 6DoF VR. It was before Oculus Rift even had 6DoF controllers. They were using Xbox controllers for a
yeah,
Rift at that point. But I mean, even Carmack brought it up during his talk the other day that at the end of Gear VR was better than Oculus Go. Like it was, if you had the right phone, it was really a good experience. But VR's come a long way even since then, and yeah, I kind of feel like um, I wouldn't say that it did more damage than good. The mobile phone VR, but it did just as much damage as it did good. Like there was good experiences to have in it, but for people who were picking up, Google Cardboard and putting their $50 smartphone in it, that was garbage town. You know what I mean?
yeah. It's kind of like the Nintendo, um, Nintendo version of the stuff. Decent, I guess. But well, Raza, you nail it, man. Sony has all the damn licensing for all the titles we want in VR, and that's why they're going to be the powerhouse for sure. And that's why I believe Zuck does, or Sony and Zuck do see themselves as a competitor, so to speak. And if Sony didn't consider them a threat or a competitor, I believe when Resident Evil 4 was announced in VR, kind of like the way that they did it,
Right.
they definitely looked at him as or a competitor at that point, because that was kind of like a fuck you. We just stole your your game here, or your company, and we know that everybody's gonna love it. And then so I think that's why Sony's going to step it up a notch with Resident Evil Village. So,
Said, "Hey, bro, I was with your girl last night,
yep.
and she'll never admit it to you, but she loved it."
Yeah, she loved it real good.
Anyway, a lot of people in the chat are talking about how they'll never buy the Sony headset as long as it has a wire. And I have two things to say to that. One, yeah, you will. Wait till you see these games. Yeah, you will. But besides that, you might not have to. And I say that because before the PlayStation 5 released, some fairly reliable sources in the tech world reported that the wireless um, networking hardware inside the PlayStation 5 was designed with PlayStation 5 VR in mind. And nothing else has really been said about it since then until this past week. And I forgot to put it in the headlines, but a prominent tech insider from, I don't remember if it was Japan or China, uh, came out and said that Wi-Fi 6E based wireless connectivity is going to be, uh, standard on all of the next year's headsets from Oculus, from Apple, and yes, from Sony as well. So maybe Sony's not done. Maybe they have another surprise left up their sleeve yet.
Yeah. Yeah, that would kill everything, right? All of a sudden Sony's like, "Oh, we're not doing wired. We found out a way to make it perfect." And everyone's like, "Fuck, man, I take my money now."
To be honest, all they said was, is it connects to the PlayStation with one wire for super easy setup. That's what they said. You know what I mean? So maybe the wire's just to set up. Maybe they're going to add on or have multiple models or have an add-on like a wireless add-on. There's any number of things that they could do to make it a wireless headset. But at the end of the day, for me anyway, it's all about games, and I don't think anybody's even going to come close to the library that they're about to put forth for VR.
Absolutely. Diz the Game Cat coming through with 9.99 says many thanks for the game and putter attachment from the new Strangers in the Night podcast premiere. So special thanks to Mr. Tasselhoff for making that possible. And dude, it's amazing, right? That's really good.
Yeah, yeah. I was just telling Mr. Tess, thank you for doing that right before we went on the air. It was super cool of him, and yeah, I mean it makes the golf game certainly better. You know what? I wanted to try it with Roots, and we're going to talk about it here in just a few minutes. I want to try it with the real VR fishing.
Oh
Like I feel like
yeah.
it might work pretty well with that too.
That's a good idea, actually. Yeah, because it's gonna make you feel like you're holding the actual fishing rod. Yeah, so it's
Right.
could be a potential double banger for Mr. Tass. I thought you were gonna say Top Golf or that what is that one E-Golf or whatever that's on the Quest. That's a literal 18 hole course. Mash says that's the way to really use it because you're swinging that sucker a little bit harder than putting, right? And
Well, that
it makes
makes
a big
sense.
difference.
That makes sense, and that's all well and good. But no, bro, I'm talking about fishing. I think I think that it's not that big of a jump to use an accessory like that for Real Fishing VR. But it's been a while since I've been in there, so I don't know how it's going to interfere with any of the other stuff going on in that game. I have to try it out to see if it's actually going to work the way I'm thinking it will. But I think it's worth a look.
Yeah, absolutely. Daniel Cass says, "Why not tugging on your head?" As far as my experiences with the overhead management, it is that. I mean, I guess if you did it perfectly, you did the right way. There's a way to where you could make it to where I always felt like it was pulling on my head. And Masher has tried it. He said it kept wrapping around his neck. Now, let me. What do you think, Wes? Do you think it's a good idea to have a cord wrapped around your neck in VR when you can't see? I say
So
no.
here's the thing. Here's the thing, and this has been my experience uh, throughout my time as a VR content creator and a leader of a community full of different enthusiasts. Everybody's different, and what's good for me might not be good for Roots, and what's good for Roots might not be good for Diz. Everyone's different, and what everyone considers comfortable uh, versus uncomfortable, or useful versus not useful. It's very it varies wildly from person to person. So like for me and you, I'm with you, Roots. Like these dangling solutions, they sound like they would be more distracting to me than just having a regular cable. Just because it doesn't seem natural to me, that setup, it seems like it would be weird. But I've never used it, so I don't know. But my inclination is that I'm better off just you know keeping a normal wire and maybe getting an extension so that I have an extra lot of a long cable like I do with my Quest Link. My Quest Link cable is freak. I can walk to the next room and get the front door with my link cable without taking the headset off. But I don't know, man. I don't know. It's not for me, but I'm not going to sit and tell someone else that it's not for them because I've heard a lot of people that swear by that type of suspended cable thing. So to each their own.
It's garbage.
Garbage can.
Hey, Jim Hall says it's wrapping around your neck. You set it up wrong. That's very true, Jim. So I'd be interested to know if you've had success. I did not wrap around my neck. I just felt like it was more distracting than not. And now the beauty is I don't even need it. I got a wireless headset and I got a battery that's 10 hours. So I can plug that, stick it in my pocket, and I'm good to go forever. So that's the beauty.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, back to the beaten path here, back to the headlines, and we're going to stick with Oculus Quest here as Oculus Quest 2 grows to 35% of the SteamVR headset usage. So, um, you know, more proof positive here. And I don't feel like, at first I think that this stat was an indicator of the PCVR community kind of coming around on streaming through Link. But at a certain point, I think everyone that wanted one of these had one. And now I think the fact that we continue to see this number increase, I think that it's starting to become an indicator that some of these people that were brought into VR with standalone are graduating now and moving on to PCVR. At any rate, whether it's one or the other, it's nothing but good news.
Yeah. Well, what's crazy is in the article I was reading, that number is not even as impressive as it really is. If you look at all the Oculus headsets, it's like what 61% of headsets on Steam are Oculus headsets now, and it just keeps increasing. It's actually increased for the other ones as well, but the index has declined a little bit, which I thought was interesting. And people can say what they want about the superior audio, and they can say what they want about the FOV, but I'm thinking it points to the proof that wireless is bigger than we think, right? A lot of people are really want to go wireless, and the Index can't go wireless yet. Index 2 probably will, but I just thought the number was very impressive. 61%, that's huge, and it's increasing. It's not decreasing. So.
Well, the last topic, it shows how people feel about wireless, right? I mean, how many people, even though they know all these awesome statistics and specifications that are attached to this new Sony headset, and they know that Sony's already promising to promote it with AAA, exclusives, uh, and they're still saying, the wire's a deal breaker for me. I mean, that's pretty significant, right?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what it is. I've gotten you. I mean, I don't think I'm gonna mind the wire for PlayStation 5 VR, but I've gotten so used to not having a wire, it would be an adjustment. It'll be weird, because it's been so liberating and so nice, to not have that wire. It makes a big difference. So.
Yeah, I guess I'm different because I play seated most of the time. Um, so like I really don't use the wireless all that much. I mean, I play plenty of standalone, but when I play PC, I typically plug in for it. Even when I'm using my Quest, normally I use my G2, but even when I'm using my Quest, I normally just use wired link. I occasionally will dip into virtual desktop, but most of the time I just use my wired link, and I'm perfectly
I
fine with
wonder if
that.
it's if it For me, because Airlink is so easy, with the exception, they need to take it out of experimental mode and make a mode where it's always active instead of having to turn it on every time I reset the Oculus app. I got to go in and set it up or switch that option on. It was just so easy. I turn on my thing, I click one button, I'm automatically connected to the computer, and it's wireless and it's just as good and it looks amazing. And so the only time I would consider being connected would be something like, well, and even this I didn't because I had the battery pack, but maybe it's going to be an extended duration, like we're going to be playing Forever Bowl with me and Mash for a couple hours or whatever it is. I'll plug in my link, even if it's a standalone game. I'll plug it into the block, my charging block, and then sit down and then do it that way. But more often than not, I like to be wireless, that way I'm not worried about the cord at all. So
Right. Well, again, this just goes back to what I was saying a moment ago. To each their own, and for whatever reason, 35% for a single headset is pretty significant, especially when the headset in question has only been around a year. So I mean, and the extended numbers, 60+% Oculus headsets. That's not really surprising. Oculus has been pretty much the main player in VR pretty much from day one. So
then it goes back
no
to the
big
last
shock there.
article as well, right? The cost, the fact that
Right.
it's $300-$400 and all these people coming into VR, and they've, like you said, they've tried the standalone and they want to try the PCVR games. This is the cheapest, most or best way to get into it, and they probably already own it anyway. So
Yeah, I mean these things are dirt cheap in relative terms, right? Compared to what VR hardware used to cost. I mean, shit, this is like half price of what an Oculus Rift CV1 cost. You know what I mean?
hmm.
It's nuts.
Technoglitch says he can't say if he'll buy a PSVR 2 yet. I with me, and this is going to be going out on a stretch. This is Nostradamus Junior roots. Just watching the way you buy stuff and on a willy-nilly stuff, jump on it. I guarantee you're going to own it. I guarantee it. I'd put money on it, Tech.
Daniel Cass says, I'm relatively new to PCVR. I bought a used GTX 1080 after getting a Quest 2. See, this is exactly what I'm talking about. People like him who came into VR on the standalone tip and was so impressed with it that he went and bought a secondhand 1080 and now he has PCVR. Like, I got to imagine that there's more people like him out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, it makes you wonder, you know, well, anyway, I don't want to go down that path. It'll be a long discussion. Interesting times ahead. So many divergent paths, so many different ways that VR could go. Are people going to remain, uh, you know, in standalone mode? Or are people going to go PC? Or people going to go console? I think standalone has a lot going for it when you read headlines like this next one. Application SpaceWarp gives Quest 2 Roots gives Quest 2 70% more performance. So we come on here day after day, week after week, and talk about how amazing these devs are and how much they're able to get out of the standalone hardware on the Quest 2. In some cases, we say that certain games look like PC games. Well, now we have Oculus releasing a software update, Roots, that is said to increase performance by 70%. That is huge. And it's a big deal for this platform going forward. If that's true, even if it's, so let's say they're exaggerating and it's 50%. I mean, it's already amazing. They're already like, for example, the developer behind Boneworks say that Quest 2, as it stands at launch, was on the low end spec to run Boneworks. So imagine now taking that and increasing that power by 50%. You've got a device that's legitimately going to be capable of running some PC quality experiences in a completely standalone package. I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah, it opens up everything. You could get Alex on that sucker, man. You know what? The coolest things that I read about in this article is you know a lot of people will think, okay, it's it's SpaceWarp. It's basically ASW. It's gonna do it in half, right? Well, what's half of 120? Which it has the ability to be 120 is 60, and 60 is so close to 72 with the way the Resident Evil 4 is run, which is amazing at 72, right? So I would imagine if and this is all based on the developers, right? This is going to be a developer based thing with this thing. They have to put it in the game, but this is going to be a game changer, and I think this is going to allow games like Alex and Boneworks and Asgard's Wrath, even, although that may be a memory issue
Yeah,
for the Quest.
maybe.
But that's I just say it's really going to it's going to make things it's going to be night and day difference, I believe. So
It's going to close that gap for sure, and it's basically what it's going to allow this thing to do. If everything is as they say it is, it's going to take away the one advantage that PlayStation VR has over standalone VR. Standalone VR has a lot going for it in terms of controls, in terms of clarity in the display, but it never has been quite powerful enough to produce the kind of textures and asset numbers that a PlayStation can produce. This is going to affect that gap significantly, and basically, it's going to allow you to play like PlayStation VR level VR, only with like super clear displays and again great tracking and full room scale, endless room scale. Um, this is a big deal. And for those of you who's saying that SpaceWarp isn't anything new, this is not the same ASW that is on the PC. If you read the article, there are other technologies that they're bundling in with this SpaceWarp application for Quest that makes it work a little bit differently and solves some of the issues that came with earlier versions of the SpaceWarp. Um, I just refer all of you to read the article on Upload. I'm no like expert on this stuff, but it seemed like a significant advancement, and they're just going to drop it like it ain't nothing here in about a week or so. Um, it's one of the byproducts I think it said of the move to OpenXR.
yeah,
So.
well, cool, man. We're slowly seeing everything fall into place, right?
Onakazu says it probably helps with spikes in frame rate more than 70% more power wise to play with graphics wise. Well, I mean, it's literally rendering half the frames, and you do get a little bit of a little bit more load on the CPU side of things, but again, they have other solutions to kind of mitigate that as well. Uh, just read the article. I don't want to get on here and pretend to be an expert, but it seems significant. It seems more significant uh, than the ASW was for Rift
Mm.
in a big way. So only time will tell. But I think a year from now, um, obviously we'll be looking at a new headset by then. But the things that they're doing with this headset a year from now are going to just blow people away. We can't even kind of put our head around it yet. What they're going to be able to do with this headset before it's put to rest.
Well, think about if you go back to the Rift, right? Go back to before ASW dropped, and people are like, I don't know, how much is this really going to improve? Is it going to, did ASW when it dropped for PC, in the form that it was it only just for frame spikes, lag spikes, and developers they have 100% control over what they can use it for, and I do agree that will probably be used number one to make things more smooth, right? A lot less lag spikes,
Right.
whatever. But developers that I think about Shadowgate, the developer Shadowgate, look at all the tricks that he used to make it as amazing as it is, and now he's going to have that much more headroom because of a
Yeah.
software, the developers that are good are going to utilize it, and you're going to know the difference. And it will make it a lot more viable for some of these more intensive titles that we've already written off. Although even before this news, I was already feeling like Boneworks could be brought to Quest 2 because of them not utilizing the entire power of the. We have no idea what this thing can do, right? So I think this is only good news for everybody. And Tech says he hopes it on the PC of side it makes things even better. The only way that's going to happen is if they take this technology and somehow incorporate it into ASW, which is very possible. So
It's funny that you brought up Shadowgate as your example because that's exactly what I thought of too when I read this article. I was immediately thought about how awesome Shadowgate was and how a developer like that, Dave will be able to pick up on something like this and implement it with ease, right? Because he's an OG, he's been around for a minute and he knows what he's doing. Um, and that game already looks like a PC game, so like I can only imagine if he decides to implement this into his next game or even like into an update for this one, what a big difference it's going to make.
absolutely. And you know what's funny, as I was reading this news, it made me think of the next article, and how that could be brought in together with something, a technology like this. Imagine if what we're about to talk to you on the next one was incorporated on this headset as well, in addition to this, how much they could fit on a headset, right?
Well, here's the thing, Roots. Apparently, there's no good reason to even try to do foveated rendering with the eye tracking. It's just not the juice isn't worth the squeeze, man. Carmack has spoken.
Oh wait.
Wait, PlayStation patent filing shows work on eye tracking with foveated rendering. Well, wouldn't you know it, Roots? Apparently, there's a little bit more validity to this technique than we previously thought.
Maybe somebody was downplaying something for the competitors and be like, no, no, you don't want to do that. That's bullshit. That won't work. Guys, we need to speed it up. Um, Yeah, I saw something like this, and that's what I was saying. I saw that SpaceWarp thing, and I thought, okay, think about that coupled with the Quest Meta Quest 2 Pro, with eye tracking if it had it, and you got that the application SpaceWarp on top of it, what you could bring into VR, right? So now I guess the article does state it is very, just like we always say, this is just a patent. This might not be
Right.
PlayStation 5 VR, but the timing of the release to me suggests that it probably is. And didn't they mention this as one of their things that's going to be in the headset, right?
Yeah, it was part of one of the leaks. Is that it would be utilizing eye tracking based dynamic foveated rendering. Um, how much of a difference this makes is it remains to be seen. I was kind of joking, leading in, tongue in cheek, but the truth of the matter is, as much as I love Facebook and as brilliant as their scientists and people that work there are, it always kind of kills me that they have this attitude like they are the cutting edge. Like there are no other people in the world who could possibly figure something out that they failed at. Like they all have this attitude like that when these technologies finally get developed, it's going to be because they're the ones doing it. And just because they haven't been able to nail down foveated rendering with regards to eye tracking just yet, that they kind of have this attitude like it's impossible that Sony,
Hmm.
Sony, like this is Sony we're talking about. These guys are magicians too. Like that, think about what they've done. Just producing PlayStation VR with the OG PlayStation 4. I mean, that's a miracle in its own right. So nothing surprises me with these guys. They're every bit as talented as the scientists in Facebook Reality Labs, and I'm very interested to see just what a big deal this eye tracking with foveated rendering turns out to be on an already super powerful console.
Yeah. everybody writes Sony off because of PlayStation, the first iteration of PlayStation VR, right? Because they were a pioneer, just like Oculus was in a sense, but their tracking wasn't solidified, So and the controllers. Other than that, the headset was light night and day ahead of everybody else, right? We've even said it's still doing things 5 years old, and it's looking as good in like Resident Evil 7 than any PCVR game that I've seen. So they know what they're doing, and they haven't been sitting on their hands for the last couple of years. Traveling Man says, imagine coupled with Unreal Engine 5 on top of what we just talked about. Like, there's so many pieces falling into place. The next couple of years are going to be crazy, and 5 years from now, we're going to be. I don't even know. I don't know, man. Even a couple of years from now, it's going to be night and day different.
Yeah.
From where
Dude,
we're at now.
a year from now, it's going to be different. When you're talking about, we'll go ahead and say 18 months to 2 years, because within the next year, all of this different hardware is going to release. And then within the next year after that, we're going to see the software supporting it. 2 years from now, though, the landscape is going to be wildly different than it is right now. And as much as a difference Quest has made over the last 2 years of VR, I mean, that's nothing compared to what the next 2 years are going to do, because there is money pouring into VR right now. VR is the next big thing all over again. And only now the people are waking up to it. It's not just people on the supply side, but it's also people on the demand side now. And I mean, we're really at the precipice now of really crossing over. Like, it's about to really happen, and the tech is just going to benefit immensely from all of the capital that's pouring into the sector, not only now but over the next couple of years.
I agree. Daniel Cass says, are the patents for PSVR 3 then? I think it's for this next iteration, the next headset, but we'll see. We just found out about this now. But this is like filed almost a year ago, I thought, and then it was released like in June, maybe. I don't know. I can't remember. I just glanced over the article before the show, but it definitely has been out for a bit. So I think this is going to be in the headset. That's my guess. And they did say something close to that when they talked about this even a couple years ago or a year and a half ago, right? So
they will for sure be using this to some extent at launch, I gotta think. Now, obviously, as all tech does, it will mature over time and it will become better. But I'm sure, and again, even if it doesn't, we talked about this before. It's not like foveated rendering is the main use for the eye tracking. The eye tracking does so much more. The foveated rendering is just another of a laundry list of things that the eye tracking is used for.
absolutely.
Anyway, I thought it was exciting to see. The timing of it, honestly, is what's exciting about it. To see some confirmation that indeed Sony has been working on this, and it's very likely to be in to me is the most anticipated piece of hardware that's in foreseeable sight. Like this is the one platform and headset that I'm looking forward to most of all, more than the next iteration of Oculus Quest, more than the Valve Deckard or whatever it turns out to be called. PlayStation 5 VR is it's where it's going to be at least for the next couple of years in terms of games. Which again, that's why I'm here, because of the games.
Absolutely. Diz the Game Cat said this a little bit ago. He says he's getting PS5 VR day one, even if I don't get my hands on a console. Dude, get your console now, bro. Like, I don't think it's going to get any easier to get. If they're producing, I mean, every single technology, the Switch is now saying we're producing less because of chip shortage. This just was announced a couple days ago. I don't think the technology is going to get easier to get. So my advice would be if it'd be great to have a PlayStation. Can you imagine having a PlayStation 5 VR, Wes, and looking at it on your desk, but not having a console to plug it into, and you can't get them anywhere. They're just not anywhere out there. That would suck. That would really kind of piss me off. I'd almost rather have it be the other way around. At least I could use my PlayStation 5 and play it, you know? It's crazy.
Yeah, more and more people are actually getting their hands on PS5s now, and I expect that to continue to be the trend. I know that the retailers have been stockpiling them for the holiday sales. So if you really want one, you should be able to get one around the Black Friday shopping holiday if you put forth the effort.
Right. And that's exactly it. And we're right at that point now. I would pick it up now, because Derail says shortages are projected into next summer. So I think you're right. I think that's one of the reasons why, a lot of it's been really weird for someone like Derail that watches these PlayStation 5s and the way they sell. He's got them it down pat how they do it, but the last couple of weeks have been very bizarre with the way they usually have been doing it. And I think it's because a lot of stuff is coming in and people are expecting sales and they're not happening as much as they should be because they're stocking up, like Wes said. Um, so if you want it, you can probably get it. But then what happens after the big sale? That's what a lot of people aren't thinking about on a lot of things, Wes. If it's something that is a necessity item that people may buy the shit out of for Christmas, I would probably pick it up now if it's something you need for your own personal life. Because if everybody's out there buying it all up, it's just going to make it harder to get, you know. It is a reality. So,
Well, I mean, just in general, it's always best to be prepared, right? And
better to have it
get
and
it.
not need it than to need it and not have it. And that's why I ran out and bought a portable heater, because I went without not heat for a night and realized that's not fun. If it happens again,
It sucks.
I want to have something to heat. This people, if something, it's just like if I go to this, if I'm dumb enough to go to the ATM at 2 a.m. and I get mugged, I'm hoping I never go to the ATM at 2 a.m. again, ever. You know what I mean? Like, some things in life happen to kind of shift you and make you say, ooh, maybe I need to get a heater just in case, because I don't want to go through it again. So,
See, Wolveraza says, I got so lucky getting the PS5s we have. My boys do love them. So Wolveraza got two. Like I got one, and I got one for Scott Merrill, the Oculus Game Cat. I got one for him. Like you can get them if you really if you really want it and you put the effort in, you can get them. It's not that hard. It's not impossible.
no, it's not.
Anyway, Roots, let's move out of these hardware headlines and let's talk about some games. Real VR Fishing Year 2 update available now. We've been waiting on this update for a while, Roots, for this popular uh, multiplayer fishing simulator. We can call it a simulator now, Roots. Like before, it was arcade style fishing. Now it's the fishing sim, and it looks beautiful.
Dude, this thing is, I was reading it, man. It looks so cool. And one of the coolest things that I thought about it, and this is going to sound weird, people, is the DLC coming up. And I'll tell you why. I'm not a avid fisherman, right? I don't fish very much. But if I did, the thought of being able to go to, say, my favorite fishing hole or place that I like to visit in the United States or wherever that they're releasing this DLC, right? They're making it so close to real, even to the point where if you know that you're going to fish for a certain type of fish at a certain depth in real life, you're going to be able to take that knowledge into the game. And I just feel like they've done everything they need to do. They've made it beautiful and amazing for someone like me that's not a fishing person, that I can, or fisherman, that I don't want to get wrapped up in that. I'm a fisherman. But I can still really feel like I'm fishing. I'm in real life, I'm there, but they've taken the realism even more to the next level for those people that are super into it. So they're going to be immersed on a level that I didn't think was possible. I think it's super cool.
Yeah, dude. I mean, the the level of detail that they've put into the gameplay is staggering compared to what it was before. And it was fun before. Don't get me wrong. It was a very enjoyable experience before, but they're completely flipping on its head with regards to how the game plays. Like they're taking an arcade game and turning it into a sim, and they're doing so rather effectively. And it's fitting because the visuals were already there. Like the visuals were already extremely realistic, but now the action is going to be realistic as well. And then what you said is true. I mean, they've got this next DLC coming up, which is going to expand the locations and make it so that you can literally fish in any environment that you could possibly think of. Um, outstanding work, and I can't wait to get in there and try out this free update, which just launched.
Yeah, that's crazy. This game's amazing, and I like I said, I'm looking for the DLC, and I don't even have any knowledge of these places. But this is again, this is the beauty of the world. It's getting weirder to travel, right? But I don't have to worry about that now. I mean, especially once you get the DLCs, you're gonna have so many options of places to travel to fish. And it's a getaway, it's an escape from any lockdowns or any weirdness, right? So
Now they just need to make it 4 players instead of 2.
yeah, that's funny because I was in somebody said that on Mash's show recently because they immediately went to multiplayer. We needed multiplayer, and they were laughing, saying, "Oh, they always ask for multiplayer like we always do, right?" And
Yeah.
now we got multiplayer, but we want more. We want 4 people now, and not 2.
Well, I'm
But I
thinking,
agree.
I'm thinking, I'm thinking how awesome this would be as a venue for the on location series. Like,
Absolutely.
could invite some of our developer friends to go fishing with us.
Yeah, because this is a chill thing, man. That's one of the best things about
Yep.
fishing, right? Is you're chilling out, you're relaxing, you're just kind of it's a mindless thing where you're just doing your thing and you can just relax and chill and talk to people. And typically people drink their beer. Bring your beer in VR if you want. I bring Colorado time, and it's just a chill time, right?
Yeah, yeah. Chris Richardson in the chat says, "Are the new graphics designed to make me think a gun on my RGB monitor is misaligned?" Wes, you nailed it, bro. That's the look we were going for, actually. It's something that I thought looked really cool, and you can buy like if you're a Twitch streamer and you want all of that like pre-rendered stuff that everyone kind of has the same format on Twitch. You can buy like packs that have this look to it. Um, but our stuff is very specific the way it's set up and unique. So I actually commissioned someone to make these overlays for us, and it took a little going back and forth with them, but eventually they nailed it, and I think it looks really good. They gave me exactly what I asked for, and obviously it's working because Chris just nailed it. That was exactly the effect we were going for.
Yeah, I like it. I'm really impressed. And what's funny is this is only, I don't know, this is like the fifth, or I don't know how many different renditions that we thought, and even with this, we had it all set, and then something, we found out someone else was using a similar thing, and we redid it again because we want to be original, right? And so,
Yeah,
so
I
it's all,
forgot about I forgot about sharing that story. So we actually had our new logo back in the spring, and we've just been sitting on it all this time, and we were literally going to launch at the beginning of October. But I just so happened to tune in to watch our friends Skiva and Alex on the Between Realities show, and they changed their look about a year ago. Last summer they changed their look, and I didn't realize it, but the lettering in our font and on our logo, and subsequently all the lettering from our frames and everything that we had made up was using exactly the same lettering from the Between Realities podcast. And not only that, the color scheme was exactly the same too. It was very, very similar looking to their stuff. So, literally, right before we went to launch, we found out that we were pretty much unintentionally ripping off their look. And we had to basically flush it. I had to go to my people, my graphics people, and have them change our logo to put a new font in it. But it turned out to be a blessing in disguise because we ended up finding a look that I like even better,
Me too.
and the stuff that we have now looks twice as good as the stuff that we had before. So again, it just turned out to be a good thing at the end of the day. But I know at the time I was freaking out, man.
Yeah, that's you were messaging me off saying, "Fuck, dude." It's like, well, everything happens for a reason, and as long as you're open to it and roll with it, I think things become better. That's what life is all about: adapting and changing. So,
Onakazi says he mentioned it toward the beginning of the show too. I must have missed that one, but good call. It's good that it's coming across the way that's supposed to. Has anyone noticed what the background is? Like the background image? Like I actually took this background image myself with my computer and sent it to my graphics people to lay the frames on top of it.
yeah, it's good. I like it.
Anyway, next headline: Time traveling adventure Wanderer releasing on PlayStation VR and PC VR in January. So, one of the most highly anticipated releases that we have yet to get this year, Wanderer. We were expecting it sometime late 2021. Apparently, that's not going to be quite enough time for them. They pushed it toward the end of January. Roots, are you at least a bit concerned here? Because typically, I mean, how could they possibly know that? All right, we need 3 months. Like that just means that they're not done yet. They might need more, right?
Yeah, I'd rather them take. I mean, I take as long as they want. This game is so intriguing to me, and if it's done right, it's going to be one of the best games in VR. You know what I mean? I can't wait to check this game out. So I definitely, I'm willing to wait for sure.
And Onakazi nailed it. He says it's the default Steam home loading area. Yeah, this is I took a screenshot from inside Steam VR and I applied some very subtle filters to it, and then sent it to my graphics guy, and they put the frames over top of it.
I like it. I think it's cool. It's
I do as well.
and it's not. This isn't a knock at Alex because I loved his for everything. The old design was amazing. I just think this one. I really like this one. You know what I mean? It's fresh. It's new, and I just like it better. You know.
Yeah. Well, never mind. I was going to get all ash holeless for a minute, but I'm not going to do that. We're going to be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this, man. And the only reason I'm at least a bit concerned about Wanderer pushing back is because I am so looking forward to it. And if it were being pushed back a couple of weeks, then it wouldn't be a concern to me. What concerns me is how could you know that you need 3 months on something? Like, there's no way that you know that. Like, all that means is they think that they can get it done by then. And I
Wow.
hope they're right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'd rather them be honest with themselves and give themselves a little bit more time than delaying it twice. Mash says, Mash, is that you, Mash? I think that's Mash. He's changed his name 3 different times now. Quick QTC VR gamer. The new look is kick ass. I agree. Last night it said QTC Mash Daddy Cool. I'm not sure which one I like better. But yeah, no, I agree. And Quantum Leap in VR is my dream game. That would be amazing. Think about
It's
what they could
coming,
do.
bro.
Sliders as well. Either one of those games, I'll take either one. I think it'd be amazing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're going to get all of that, man. Before it's all said and done, we're going to get everything we want out of this deal.
Do you think we'll ever get a VR arcade game in VR?
Well, it depends on if you believe this next headline. Manage a classic games arcade with Arcade Legend. So this is another 2022 release, Roots, and this game is kind of like a melding of different genres. Like there's like a business management game going on here, kind of like a Sims game, and then at the end of the day, this is a very real virtual arcade that you're building, and this is the part that interests me, Roots. After you build your arcade and successfully launch it, um, you actually have this real virtual arcade that you can bring your friends into and have this multiplayer experience inside the arcade that you built, which by the way has licensed arcade titles inside it. I think that aspect of this is cool. The only problem is I don't want to build the arcade. I just want the arcade so that I can visit it with my friends.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I don't. As long as it's easy to build, to me, it kind of feel. It's kind of like Coaster Tycoon or any of those roller coaster games, or make an amusement park. All cool, but if I can't shrink myself down and go on the rides, it's all pointless to me. The coolest thing about this, and it really is up in the air because they didn't announce any titles, um, is exactly that. Like if they have the right titles, this is going to be amazing because this is the reality. I there's so many games that emulators, I guess not so many, a couple of them, right? Even on PCVR, but all of them rely on you bringing your file in there with you, right? The ROM in there, which you won't have to do. If this is licensed, it's going to be there. I want to build my Pac-Man game and play Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man, Donkey Kong, whatever it is. I don't own all these fucking ROMs, and I don't know how to bring most of them in. And for the average person, that's too much. If I can just go in and say, okay, here's a list of my 20 favorite arcade games or whatever they are, and I can just place the games wherever I want, set it up. I think this could be really amazing if it's done right and it's got the right titles.
Absolutely. And you know what's cool about this is outside of the licensed arcade games, there's all the other stuff in there that you would see in an arcade. There's a little basketball machines and skee ball. There's air hockey. There's even bowling routes. If you watch
Ooh,
this trailer, they have a full bowling alley in here. So I mean, this is potentially a load of fun that you can have with your friends. Again, I don't care for the sim aspect and the business management aspect of it, but give me this arcade all day long, and I'll certainly come and hang out in it.
you would think that they'd have to have some kind of an option, like a default option that for the people that don't want to deal with it, just a general one they've built. You know what I mean? Like a default arcade. It's got all the games set up, and then you just log in and you play the games. I don't want to do any of that bullshit. I just want to play the games. I agree with you. I think that would be really cool if that option exists. And Wolveraza says Dragon Lair would be neat in an arcade thing, and I agree. I used to love Dragon Lair, and that's Dragon's Lair, and that actually I think is one of the games Main Fan played on his channel. Throwing a Main Fan shout out there. We'll never see it, but that's cool.
Absolutely. Headline: GTA San Andreas VR is developed by LA Noir VR Studio. So we kind of suspected that this might be the case. We already knew that this studio was working on a VR game for Rockstar. And as we suspected, San Andreas uh, is that game, or at least it could be, because they also said that they have multiple projects going on now. And you know, with this being kind of the VR wing of Rockstar, the odds are they have multiple VR projects in the works.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. That's actually good news, right? We know that a lot of people would see this title, and they would think, "Ooh, LA Noir didn't." There were certain things about LA Noir we didn't like, right? But they have to remember this was early VR. This was they were one of the first ones to try to bring a AAA game into it, and the biggest thing that they didn't have right was the movement, and the and they didn't include the entire game, right? Other than that, the game was really cool. All of those things I guarantee aren't going to be the case this time because we're 5 years down the road now. Movement has been ironed out in every single game, and the content that they're not going to bring GTA San Andreas VR out and have like a three-quarters of the content or do whatever they did with LA Noir. So I'm confident that everything is going to be amazing, and I'm excited to see what else they're in the process of making. Right?
We've seen the same thing from devs everywhere, not just larger studios such as this, but from smaller indie studios. From game to game to game, they get better. I mean, look at the Sin Studio where they were and where they are now. Even like more well known studios like Mirrorwind and I could anybody Servios, like they all continue to get better the more that they work at it. So like we have this studio here. This is only their second title, but they're 5 years later, like you said. And not only will their skill level be higher, but the game engines themselves are more well optimized for VR. So yeah, I don't think that we should be concerned. Well, I won't say it all, but we shouldn't be very concerned about the shortfalls of LA Noir with regards to San Andreas and or whatever else they're working
Yeah, I agree. I'm excited.
on. Anyway, we said that it's likely that these other projects that they're working on are VR projects, and this next headline kind of alludes to that as well. The Take Two CEO now likes VR and suggests that there are more games to come post GTA San Andreas. So Take Two is the company that is the parent company to Rockstar, and he um, historically has not been so warm on VR like so many of these other heads of the gaming companies. Um, not too keen on VR back in the VR is dead era, but that era in itself is dead. So now, obviously, again, we said it a while ago, VR is the next big thing again, and it's very obvious here. These guys are putting their money where their mouth as are so many other companies.
I think it's funny just how the fact that they backpedaled a little bit because their statement was like all positive about VR, right? But if you go back just 1 year, it was not positive, and it was almost in the exact same type of conversation, right? So it tells you how far they've switched their mind out. And what I thought was interesting too, and I maybe it was just them keeping the things close to their sleeve as far as what they were doing. The article makes a point that when they weren't the last time they talked about it, and he wasn't that bullish on VR. This was in the works. San Andreas had to have been in the works by then, right? As well as other projects. So they were working on VR, even though they were putting out there that they weren't that thrilled or that impressed by it. So I think part of it might have been just trying to keep it close to their chest, right? Because this announcement surprised everybody. Like nobody was like, "Oh, I knew this was coming." We knew something was in the works, but you and I even thought it was Sony that was working with them, not these people. And it turns out that in part, this whole thing was that announcement, right? When they said they were working on an open world AAA game, this was it, or one of the things anyway.
Yeah, it's funny, man, because people we kind of know on a certain level just how far in advance that these companies are working behind the scenes, but we never quite consider it when we talk about these things. But what you're saying here is absolutely true. They've been working on this game for years. Now, mind you, that this game is coming out for Oculus Quest 2, and as far as we know right now, that's it. Oculus Quest 2's only been around for 1 year. So that means that Facebook knew years ago what they were going to be doing. Maybe they didn't know the time frame, but they knew, what was coming. And, you know, while that all makes sense now, when you think about what are they working on now that nobody knows about, that's when things get truly exciting. So I want to know what the other projects are that this guy's talking about here that they're hiring for. Uh, according to the other headline, I bet that's going to be. What do you think, man? GTA 6?
Yeah,
You think we could possibly get a VR support for something like that,
it's
day and
possible.
date?
It's possible. See, this is the thing. We've, especially with the way Sony's approaching things, I guarantee, at least I foresee a day where they, not in the not too distant future, where they're developing them side by side, and they just both release at this. I mean, this is the same thing with PC and Xbox and PlayStation. They all release about the same time. It's just another version in VR. And they're getting so good, and they're spending enough money that they can develop both side by side and release them. And I think we're close to that happening. So
Well, I think they're starting to realize that if they don't put these games in VR, that it doesn't matter. Modders are just going to do it anyway, right?
yeah,
And that's kind of what our next and final headline alludes to. Incredible Resident Evil 2 VR mod has first person and motion controls. Day by day, I'm seeing more footage roots of this Resident Evil 2 VR mod, and it looks great, man. I mean, obviously, it's not completely polished, it's not released yet, but when it does, I mean, it's just going to be amazing. And this is just another to a long list of amazing PCVR mods. Uh, bringing AAA flat games over to that platform. Go and it just shows what we've said all along that it's okay. It's all right if Oculus isn't making PCVR titles anymore, and it's okay if there aren't going to be a ton of AAA releases on PC over the next few years because these guys are just going to do it anyway, right?
yeah. There's so many games. How many games? I mean, every game that I played so many flat games recently, and every one of them I would love to play in VR. And they're all feasible ones that people could bring in. And that's the biggest news that's getting out there with all of these type of articles or news stories is it's not only viable to bring VR into our games into VR, AAA games, it's apparently a lot easier than they made it out to be. And don't get me wrong, it's not like it's a cakewalk, but if these independent modders can do it, then we know that these big companies that can pay 50 of these modders to do it, they could do it. They only need one or two to focus full time on these mods, right? So I think that every time we see something like this or something like our next feature title, it's huge. It's bigger than we think. It's just exponentially stacking on top of another, and it's pushing VR and it's actually speeding things up, I believe, which is amazing.
And you know what's crazy is as high quality as some of these mods are, they're bringing this stuff out quickly, man. I mean, it's not taking them long to do it. Small teams of amateurs are doing this quickly and to a high quality standard. So, I mean, it really wouldn't take much investment at all from some of these large studios. You know, put it put 30 people on it and invest, I wouldn't want to throw some arbitrary number out there. I don't know how the financial side works, but I'm sure it's more than dude's Patreon. You know what I mean? Like they've got that kind of money to make this happen. Um, and I think you're right. I think that these modders are going to kind of force things in that direction. I mean, it was inevitable that it was going to come anyway, but I think that it's being accelerated by the great work that these people are doing.
Absolutely, and that's why people should be supporting people like Luke Ross and stuff with their Patreon. People are like, I ain't supporting that for a mod. Well, I guess teach their own. That people don't have to, but I see why people do. And Phil Yarn says he does it. He said Oculus could have released Resident Evil 4 on the PC. I don't see why they didn't. Well, I do because my friend in real life ran out and bought his Quest 2 and retired his Rift S the day Resident Evil 4 released. And for
Yeah.
whatever, I guess maybe he didn't want to tie his account to it, but he had been holding off, and that's what got him to get it. As a matter of fact, you even told me there was a few people that I won't name who they are that had the Quest 1 and swore they weren't getting the Quest 2, and as soon as Resident Evil 4 dropped, they also picked up the Quest 2 because that was the only way you could play it. So
Yeah.
it's forcing. It's the same reason why you run out and buy a PlayStation 5 because you can't play Returnal anywhere else. So
Right. And sadly, we came to find out just a few days ago that you actually can run this game on Quest 1. It runs just fine on Quest 1, which just again, it goes to show that Facebook really they just want everybody to buy Quest 2. That's what they're going for here. Even people who are already on Quest 1, if you're on PC, you're on Quest 1, it doesn't matter. They want you buying this headset. They want you on the current platform and that's the reason why they invest this type of money to fund these kinds of exclusives.
And the good news is you're getting one of the best headsets out there for a cheap price, and soon you won't even need to tie it to your account. So
Phil says the Outer Wilds mod felt great and native, really, and that game in VR is one of the best gaming experiences I've ever had. And I often think about how much fun we had playing Risk of Rain this past summer,
yeah,
and just how that game, translated over. It wasn't the most ideal candidate for a VR game. I mean, there's lots of enemies in it. There's a lot of fast, jerky movement. Not the one that you would point at and say, that would probably feel good if you modded it into VR. But at the end of the day, these guys are talented and they made it work, which leads us into our first featured story.
Damn robots! This is our turn!
Deep Rock Galactic is a cult favorite PC co-op game where teams of up to 4 players dive into perilous caverns in search of precious minerals while battling hordes of alien bugs along the way. This game launched into Steam Early Access way back in 2018. This past week, a major update came to the game and opened the door for VR modders to experiment with the game. Developer Ghost Ship Games enabled the VR plugin after it was requested by a member of the Flat to VR modding community on Discord. A similar request was recently made to the developer of MechWarrior 5, and full VR support was not far behind. This very substantial update also adds new weapons to the game for the first time, alongside new missions, enemies, cosmetics, and more. The game could prove to be quite a challenge to bring to VR, as it's known for its fast, erratic movement and large waves of enemies. With that said, the VR modding community has proven themselves to be quite capable, especially over the last year. So if this is a game that people want to play in VR, then I'm sure that it shall be done. Roots, were you aware of this game before today? Before I put it in the show notes?
I absolutely was. And what's funny is I own this game because Mash, it was like maybe a month or two ago when it came out of full access. He's like, dude, this game looks really cool. We should check it out. It's 4-man. It's like an exploration. You're mining. There's enemies. Be a really good game for Vorpex, right? So we picked it up with the intention to play it together on Vorpex, but we never really got into it. It just kind of sat there. And then I see today that's in the notes, and I'm like, holy shit, dude! It's like I'm already ready to play it now in VR, and it was already a game that really seemed cool to begin with, just in Vorpax. But now I can imagine full VR. It's really cool because you're mining everything. Like everything's destructible, right? And so it's kind of like Minecraft in a way, where you can mine way down, you can go up, but you also have enemies and things attacking, and it's kind of like you're bringing the Minecraft aspect in together with Left 4 Dead type, right? Where you're 4 people and you have all these enemies attacking you. Kind of what is that space invader movie where they're on that planet and they have all those. It's an iconic movie. I can't think of what it is, but anyway, it just seems really cool.
Yeah, it does seem cool, and I was not aware. I mean, obviously, I recognize the name. I recognize like the art, but I never really go. I'm not into like flat games like that, so I really didn't know any more about it than the name being familiar to me. But when I read things like fast erratic movement, large waves of quick moving enemies, I think the Risk of Rain and how good that turned out in VR. Co-op game, right? Co-op shooter game, just like this. And immediately my ears perked up. Uh, so yeah, man, this looks cool. Now it is notable that they literally just now enabled the VR plugin for this. So work has really literally just begun on it. So it might be a little while before we actually see a finished mod, but it didn't take them long with MechWarrior 5, and it was the same deal with that. They asked for the plugin to be enabled, the developer acquiesced, and then not too long later, we had a VR mod that's, you know, fully functional and very well done. So maybe we won't have to wait so long after all to be checking this one out in VR.
Absolutely. Starship Troopers is the game I was thinking of, and that is correct. Traveling Man. Radio Runt says he owns this game. Another game Roots tells me to buy and never play. I didn't tell. That was Masher, dude. Masher got us all, you know, because there's a group of us that we play all these games together, and this is exactly why it's cool. You know, you buy it, you go back. You know, I don't like to play the same game over and over again. I want to switch things up. We have so many different varieties now, and when this releases, Radio Runt, you better bet we're going to be in there in this VR mod, trashing it up. But yeah, it's got like a Starship Troopers type of vibe, but you're mining as well. And there's an overarching story, I believe, as well, as far as why you're there and what you're doing. It has to do with dwarven mines and stuff. It's really cool. So very, very intricate game. Definitely cool that they're bringing this into VR, and I'm psyched for it now.
Yeah, what we need is a Diablo 2 VR mod.
Oh God, that would be cool, man.
Yeah, I might actually get in and play it if they did that.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, even
For a
just
minute.
a really good 3D mod, you know, it's the same thing that we want Sony to do. That why can't Oculus do it as well? Just give me a way to play every single flat game in 3D. And now you've made every single flat game viable to play for people that are like, I'm not playing anything unless it's in VR. So
I want NVIDIA to bring the 3D Vision driver back, man. Why did they quit supporting that? Like, I'm sitting here with this 3080 in my computer, lamenting the fact that my 1080 Ti is gone, and now Helix Vision doesn't work for me anymore. So, like, now I'm thinking about, you know, putting a dual graphics card set up in my computer just so I can have a dedicated graphics card for Helix Vision.
that's
Like, it's not a good situation, man.
they need to figure out a way to get around that. Helix Vision does, if they can, one that works. You know what I mean? Because that's the reality is that that driver is gone, and it kind of, for someone like me that's got a 2080, I just have written it off. You know, it was a cool $5 investment, and I'll probably never use it again unless they fix it. So
Doesn't your 2080 work? I thought it was only the 3000 series that kind of got grandfathered
there's a
out.
workaround where it'll, I don't know. It says it downloads something and then fixes it back, but I find that it ends up causing issues when I'm trying to do stuff, so I just end up not using it. So
Unfortunate, man, because yeah, I really enjoyed the Helix Vision, and it you know, that 3D depth is really the one thing that immerses you more than anything when it comes to VR. So I'm quite happy playing a lot of these AAA games on an immersive screen in full eye-popping 3D.
yeah, me too.
Anyway, Deep Rock Galactic, it looks pretty cool. Roots says it's cool. I look forward to checking out the VR mod when it finally makes its way to public release.
Ezra, are we sure about this plan? Shit! I'll have to find another way around.
No, he wouldn't.
What's happening? Ezra, can you hear me?
is too late for them. Save yourself.
Oh, there we go.
There you go. It's been a while since we've heard from the Binary Meal Roots, the excellent studio that is responsible for VR classics such as Rush and Mini Motor Racing X. As is often the case when a VR developer drops off the map for a little while, the Binary Meal reemerged suddenly this past week, bringing with them a brand new title for the Oculus Quest. Resist is the latest entry into the newly emerging VR Spider Man genre, bringing with it puzzles, gunplay, and a dystopian alien robot invasion narrative. Notably, the developer describes the game as an open world action RPG, which means the game could provide hours of extra entertainment in the form of exploration and side quests. There will be a skill tree for leveling up and improving abilities, along with online leaderboards, so that you can compete for high scores online with select skill challenges. Resist will release exclusively for Oculus Quest on November 11th. This week, Roots. I love VR, man. You never know what's coming, man. You think that it's going to be a nice, quiet week. You're going to be able to catch up on the backlog, and then Binary Meal just happens to drop by and say, "Oh yeah, how about an awesome, badass open world VR game for Oculus Quest? What the hell's going on here, Roots?"
That's crazy, man. And I noticed they didn't say Quest 2. So it sounds like it's coming for the Quest 1 as well, which is cool because Binary Mill realizes that there's still people that have a Quest 1 and they want to sell some copies to these people, right? Unlike Capcom, I guess, although I'm assuming Capcom didn't make that decision.
Right.
So,
yeah, this is cool, man. And it's interesting how many of these grappling hook games people label as Spider-Man simulators.
this is it.
But right. Not many of them are actually like Spider-Man. Like Spider-Man don't just swing. He kind of grabs the buildings and throws himself. And really the only one in pure locomotion terms, the only one that really does that to any kind of significant degree is Swarm, right? Swarm, you get in there and you literally fling yourself around with those tethers. It's not like Windlands or Jupiter Grot or any of those other so-called Spider-Man games. This here, I'm not sure if that's going to be the case or not with this game, but this game it gives you something else that really puts you in that Spider-Man mindset, and that is the environments that you're running around in. Super cool, Roots, and the coolest thing about it, again, open world. You can go anywhere in this city and you'll find side quests everywhere, according to the developer.
Oh, what's cool is it's got the skill tree, which is really gonna add replayability and make you feel like you're progressing. Right, you need progression in a game, which is really cool. And hopefully it'll be. I mean, it seems like it's story based, so hopefully there'll be a really cool story behind it as well. What is it? Who was it? This Daniel Cass says this looks cool, but I'll wait for reviews and a price point. Well, Binary Mills, at least from the games that I played that they've put out, especially Mini Motor Racing X, was done so well that unless this thing is like $60 or something, I can't see myself balking at it. I would say this looks like maybe it's going to be 24 or 29.95. But one of the things we have to remember as we are progressing through this minefield we call VR, things are changing. The scope, the whole landscape is constantly mutating. And Wes alluded to this several weeks ago, and we've said it many times. What used to be a $24.95 game, maybe a $29.95 or even a $34.95, depending on how much time and how much polish it has in there. So it's going to be a weird time, Wes, where I'm constantly having to reevaluate what I would call a fair price point. But I could see if this is done as well as I think it's going to be, I think I'd easily pay $29.95 for it.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a $30 game easy. Knowing Binary Mill and the quality that they put out, knowing the fact that this is open world and fully explorable, and again what you alluded to with the skill trees, uncommon depth for a VR game, especially with a standalone VR game. Um, this is just the best surprise. Like, we get a lot of surprise drops in VR, but a lot of time it isn't. There isn't a whole lot of meat on the bone with regards to substance. This game appears to have a lot of substance to it. Again, purely based upon what the developer is telling us. But these guys at Binary Mill, they're no chumps. They know what they're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know, man. What's cool about it, I too, is the Spider-Man aspect. I guess it, aside from the guns, it seems like it's gonna really feel like your Spider-Man swinging around the city, and I think that's cool.
Yeah, man. I mean, really, there aren't a whole lot of negatives that we can see here from this thing. I mean, obviously, standalone graphically, but I mean, outside of that, this is a cool genre with deep gameplay that is uncommon to VR. It's going to be a very original game in terms of the type of gameplay that they're putting forth here. I think that this is, an obvious sleeper pick for maybe one of the games of the year, man.
Yeah, yeah, that's cool, man. And like you said, we didn't even know it was coming out, and all of a sudden, I didn't even know this game existed, and it's coming out soon. So that's cool.
Um, as of right now, no word of this game coming to any other platforms. Do you think that lasts? Do you think maybe it's a timed exclusive, or do you really believe that this is a game made for Quest only?
That's a good question. I don't know, man. There are other games they put to everything else. You know, PlayStation VR. It's gone to PC VR. So if they can, I don't see why they wouldn't. It's probably more likely a timed exclusive, but we're going to start running into. I believe we're going to start running into this more and more, where it's up to Meta, right? If they decide that they're going to pay the money that makes it worthwhile, and we just said it before. There's so many headsets out there. It's becoming more and more a good business model if they've to go that route if they're paid enough.
Yeah. I think that this will eventually come to other platforms. I think if it's an exclusive, it's a timed exclusive because of the history with Binary Mill and their other releases. And also the fact that I think if this was truly an Oculus exclusive, that Oculus would be trumpeting this game
Yeah.
from the mountaintops because, again, it looks like a really cool, well thought out, deep gameplay loop from a high quality studio. So, really looking forward to checking this one out. And the great news is, Roots, we don't even have to wait a week, sir. This game comes out on the 11th. Just a, what, 3 days? Three
Wow,
days we get to play this?
that's crazy. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Good times we live in, sir. Good times. Daniel Cass says, I'm thinking about grabbing Defector for $20. It's worth $20 all day, man. It's very cinematic. Um, I mean, there was certainly room for improvement with it, but as it stands, a very underrated game and one that was quickly forgotten about for whatever reason. But it's a high quality VR game and worth $20 all day long.
All day.
Meow Meow the Gamer Cat makes a good point. This game seems like it'd be especially good for wireless. Now that is a good point. They could port it to other platforms, but if it's really high speed and you're swinging around through these environments and have to make quick movements, it might be one of these deals where wireless is the way to go with it.
Oh, absolutely. You know, I've tried to play Swarm before. In a position where I couldn't really spin around very much, and I could do it, but it wasn't as fun. I wasn't as good at it.
Right.
It definitely changes everything. Even you were saying that, wasn't there a game recently you were playing where, or maybe with somebody else, just being able to whip around, shooting and stuff. I mean, it makes a big difference. I think it
Yeah,
was Pop
I
One or something.
totally agree. With Swarm, it's a must. And I even went into Swarm earlier, like yesterday or the day before, wired, tethered in my G2, and it was beautiful. But I was missing my quest pretty quickly after I got into the gameplay and started wrapping my ankles together.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, I think this game looks just great. Um, Hopefully, we'll be covering this game next week or the week after on the channel here.
Yeah, for sure.
What if you could step into a world where nothing is as it seems and anything is possible?
Talk about surprises, man. Iconic television series The Twilight Zone is getting a VR game, and it's slated to release soon on Quest as well as PlayStation VR. Developed by UK based studio Pocket Money Games, The Twilight Zone VR is said to feature 3 self contained single player episodes, which will span the sorts of genres we've come to expect from the franchise hard sci fi to psychological horror. Notably, The Twilight Zone VR is being produced by and published by Funtrain and will feature contributions from gaming veteran Rob Yiscombe from The Invisible Hours, Rhyme, and Farpoint, as well as screenwriter Dwayne Alexander Smith from 40 Acres. Rich, what time is it?
Quote time!
It is indeed quote time. This quote coming to us from Douglas Neighbors, who is the CEO of Funtrain. Quote, the team of creatives and developers we've assembled are true visionaries who have a deep reverence for the Twilight Zone franchise. Nobody has made an anthology like this before that encompasses so many different divergent experiences, all in the same game. Anyway, there's no solid release date on Quest and PCVR. However, the studio says it's coming soon. And while a PCVR version isn't currently in the works, it's not entirely out of the question. So, Roots, I mean, why didn't we think of this? Twilight Zone VR, I mean, that's an endless well of possibilities, not only for these initial 3 episodes. I mean, they could do episodes of this forever, and people are going to eat it up with the kind of content. If it stays true to the tone of the original Twilight Zone, people are going to absolutely love this.
Yeah, dude. Wolveraza says it's hard to think what they will do with it, but sounds interesting. I don't know, man. That's easy for me. Hopefully, I have my ideas of what I would want them to do with it. And like you said, it could be amazing. You know, the amazing things about the Twilight Zone was the story they told. So if they could bring that story and make you feel a part of it, and then couple that with the ability to change the story by your choices, they could make this really kick ass, right? Some of these stories were so dystopian and such kind of mind f's, right? Like it really made you think what could be possible in these scenarios, right? I think this could be really cool.
Yeah, man, and I think it's going to be worth the price of admission just to go in full 3D and float through that doorway while it's going. Like it's going to be worth it for me just to do that. That's
Yeah.
going to be awesome.
Yeah. I just really hope it's kind of like, this is the thing. It's kind of like with Diablo 2, or even in the case of VR, Resident Evil 4, with their remastered versions, right? The reason why they're so good is they stayed true to form. The game is what it was. You know, I want the Twilight Zone as it was. I don't want some weird version of the Twilight Zone. You know what I mean? I want a really kick-ass. The stories the stories that they tell, they have to be really good. You know, another one would be cool, which is a little sideshow or side topic on the same line. Creepshow. Can you imagine Creepshow, the comic book, having those stories and the way they could tell it in VR. And those were some really cool. That movie, I don't know if you ever saw it. It was cool.
Tales from the Dark Side.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Do you think that this entire game should be in black and white?
It's a good question. I mean, well, let's put it this way: it's got Invisible Hours. That's black and white, right? Was that black and white? I think that was right. The guy.
I don't know.
I thought that was black and white, but maybe not. But that was another thing that I was gonna say is some of the things like the guy that was involved with Farpoint, Invisible Hours. The credentials. It seems like they've got everything across the board to make this really good. The screenwriting has to be amazing, and they've got. Sounds like somebody that's really seasoned for that. They just have to not be afraid to make it good. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, Fun Train, notably the publisher and producer behind Tarzan, but also the publisher and producer behind The Exorcist Legion VR as well. So they're kind of this is their niche, right? Putting out this episodic based content on well known IPs from the world of television and film. So I'm looking forward to it, man. I don't know what it's going to be. Uh, I'm kind of a cheap date with regards to cool IPs. Like, they don't have to wow me with gameplay here with this. I know Wolvie's in the chat. He said something that needs puzzles or something. Like, dude, I need a good story and an immersive environment. That's really all I need. Now, I'd like to have more to do than that, but I'll go into VR just to check out. I mean, remember Madrid Noir? How cool that was! Like, there was no puzzles in that, and I enjoyed every minute of it. Baba Yaga and Gloomy Eyes, all these different little interactive experiences. If this just turns out to be another one of those, if it's done right and stays true to the spirit of the original series, I'm going to love it regardless.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the thing. I think it'll be good. It's definitely going to hopefully be good. Anyway, Westworld would be an amazing version. That's more up exactly what you're describing, Wolveraza. That's another possibility. They could do an amazing story with puzzles and stuff as well. So the fact that it's being made, it makes me excited, and hopefully they don't ruin it. Because this is the thing. Somebody said in the Berber Cat says, I would like to see new stories, but the newer Twilight Zones were terrible. And that's my point. And that's why I say I hope they don't screw it up, because there's a lot of pressure in 2021 to make your stories a certain way. And we'll leave it at that. And if you don't acquiesce to that, then you don't make it. And so people just are kind of forced into going a certain direction that not everybody appreciates. And so it becomes weird. I just want a really cool story.
Here's the cool thing is that we're so far removed from this series now that there are loads of people that never watched the original Twilight Zone.
True.
And they could repurpose those stories in a game like this, and it'd be completely fresh to the majority of people who would be playing it.
That'd be cool. Yeah. I think that they're going to do a good job. I think that the fact that it's the timing of it seems like everything is being pushed to a time where things are better. I don't know. Just optimistic.
Are you the least bit concerned that this, according to the developers, coming soon, but they are showing nothing of the game? They've not a second of gameplay in this. Do you think that they're just trying to protect it and not spoil it, or do you think that there's a reason why they're not showing people the gameplay?
Yeah, 50-50. It's kind of like when you hear a game channel, or say we get advanced gameplay, and they tell you cannot talk about anything, you can't show any footage until the day of release. You know what I mean? Like sometimes there's we've seen it with games where the game releases and you're like, okay, now I know why they were so tight-lipped, because they knew it was shit and they wanted to sell as many copies as they could. I don't think that's going to be the case. But yeah, that is kind of curious, right?
A little bit. And the only reason I asked the question is because we've seen it before, right?
Yeah.
We've seen it before with these developers. And I don't mean specifically these developers, but we've seen some shady stuff. And then we've also seen the opposite. We've seen people just protect their game. It's obviously episodic, probably not going to be the longest thing in the world. They probably don't want to give too much of it away.
True, true. Well, my instinct from the footage I have seen, this doorway looks amazing. They really nailed it. It opens up, and no, it's pretty good. It's a good or intro, and it's so short too. That's another thing. It's only 20 seconds. It's barely time to Colorado time.
Short?
What's that?
So you know who hates it when it's too short?
My mom!
Oh yeah, she does, man.
Anyway, I think this is cool. Yet another amazing surprise that this week had for us, and that's 3 Roots, three featured stories, 3 surprise stories, 3 titles that we're going to be able to play in VR that we weren't expecting just a few days ago. So
That's crazy.
Let's say we talk a little bit in our final featured story of the week. Let's talk about a game that we do know about, something that we have seen before and talked about many times. Let's talk a little bit about Stride. Joyway has just released version 9.0 of Stride, which brings parity to the Quest and PCVR version of the game while adding some brand new features to both. The team also delivered their future plans for the game, including updates on the game's story and multiplayer mode. The game's 9.0 update biggest changes include a new tutorial, more options for the endless mode, power-ups, new interactive elements, reworked graphics, and new enemy types. Arena mode also has new modifiers, and enemies can throw grenades at the player, which can be thrown back. Improvements and additions have also been made to the enemy voiceovers, gun models and effects, and the general enemy AI. For the PC VR version specifically, a whole bunch of new additions and changes have been made that bring features to PC VR that were previously only available on Quest. Joyway also gave an update on the previously announced but unreleased story and multiplayer modes for Stride. Unfortunately, story mode is unlikely to arrive this year. However, a newly released video gives a first look at environments that were designed for the story mode, including new urban slum areas and more affluent skyscraper environments. With regards to multiplayer, Joyway thanked everyone who took part in testing and noted that the servers are being taken down temporarily to make improvements based on player feedback. More multiplayer tests will be available in the future, with no word yet on a full launch date. The 9.0 update for Stride is available on PCVR and Oculus Quest right now. So, Roots, we've always kind of maintained that the one thing that really kind of made this a title that we really needed to play was the idea of a story campaign to kind of pull us through what is already an amazing looking parkour mechanic for VR. Obviously, the story mode has taken a back seat not only to the other modes in the game, but the other games that Joyway are in active development with Against, Outlier, all these other awesome games that they're working on at the same time. And story mode, yet again, gets pushed back to the back burner, gets pushed in the next year. But, in an act of good faith, they have shared with us some work. And they're showing us that this is indeed coming. It's just not coming quite as soon as we had hoped. In the meantime, the rest of the game looking better and better and better with every update. This is now the 9th one. And I'm starting to question our decision to wait on the story mode. What do you think?
It's so funny you say that, because I was watching the footage, and I was putting the scenes together, and I was thinking, man, like, why have I not played this yet? And then I started thinking, like, at some point, because we say it so many times about so many different games, we'll get in there and we'll feel stupid. Like, why have I not been playing this whole time? And it's not like we don't have people in the community that I think Drew's one of them, and other people that are just have raved about this game and saying, dude, this is one of the best games of 2021, and then we're like, no, I want a story. And it's like I think we're missing out, Wes. I think we really, and I'm surprised with as much as they're putting into this game. It's $15 as well. That blows me away. I didn't know that the price was so cheap. That's crazy.
Yeah, I think it may even be on Infinity. Like I know it was for a while. Um, so yeah, I mean, like this is totally in our library right now. Like we could play it any time.
Daniel Kaz wants to know if you have to use your hands to run in this game. So if you know the answer, obviously answer Wes, but I don't know because I've never played it. Drew, somebody else that's played it. Is the running just normal with the joystick? Are you doing this or what? But I'll tell you what, the parkour looks really amazing in this.
Yeah, it's good. This game looks so much better graphically than it did originally. Like I mean, it almost looks like a different game from what it was at launch. It was so bare bones and like dead looking. That's why we kind of wanted the story mode, just so the game would have some kind of depth to it and not be so generic. But it looks like the action is incredible now, like fully polished and great looking. And now it's to the point where, and I've again broken record here. I'm starting to be as excited for the multiplayer mode as I am the story mode.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. What was cool is that somehow his gun, he lost his gun and he went to fists. And that's kind of cool too. How many games have you played, even flat AAA games, where you're like, why can't I just punch this guy? I don't have the ability to punch him. I have to use the gun. So I think that's kind of cool as well. I think it's really came a long way, and it makes me wonder, like, how big is this team at Joyway? Because one of the things, the biggest reason why, and not that we didn't trust them, but a lot of times you bite off more than you can chew, and you think you make a lot of promises, and so we wanted the story because we want the story. But I have no doubt now that the story's coming eventually. But they've got so many things going on, and everything's so close to coming out. It's like, man, these guys are crazy busy, dude. They're very very diligent, it seems like.
Yeah, man, these environments look amazing, and you know, just for some perspective and how kind of silly it is to wait for a story mode for a game like this, the closest game that we have to this in terms of gameplay would be To the Top.
Mm.
And that's one of the best games in VR. Imagine if we never played To the Top because
There's no story.
we're holding out. There's no story. We need story mode in there, bro.
Well, I'll tell you what. Onikazi says that it is a running motion and grabbing, and actually showed in the trailer. I guess if we actually watched and paid attention, that you're doing that and the joystick as well. So maybe it's how you sprint. You're running normal. You sprint like this, and then you're grabbing onto stuff. It looks very. What I like about it is it looks very fast paced. It doesn't. It looks like, you're going to be as fast as you want, and then nothing's going to slow you down if you're ready to just jump around and get crazy. You can do it. So
Like Mike, try to be like Mike.
absolutely.
You're gonna be running and jumping around everywhere like crazy. No, I think this looks cool. I think if we lived in a different time where we didn't have crazy new VR games just dropping out of fucking thin air every week, that this would probably be on the short list.
Mm.
But I question when I'll actually be able to get around to playing this game, because we keep having stuff drop in our laps, which brings us to this week's reminders. We've got some stuff out this week, Roots. In case you didn't hear, Captain Toonhead and the Punks from Outer Space. This is a game we've been waiting on for some time. We were supposed to get it like a month or two ago. It got pushed back a little bit, but the time is finally here. This coming from TerraVision Games on the 11th of November, so just a few days from now. Quest, PC, and PlayStation, all three. This looks like a very unique and interesting game, Roots.
Yeah, I have no idea what Captain Toonhead is, but I guess a lot of people do. It looks so different and unique that just watching the trailer makes me think, oh wow, I really want to try this just to see what the hell it's all about, and then talk about it on Wednesday, right?
I think that that's a very safe bet. that we might end up talking about this on Wednesday. In fact, if this game turns out to be halfway decent, I think this might be an even better fit for our unique new segment that we were going to debut this Wednesday. That we were going to use on a different game. I think
Oh,
this might actually be a better idea, but because there's so much going on here and so much to demonstrate, I think
absolutely. And it's
it might
fresh,
work really
Wes.
well.
Everybody loves fresh.
Yeah. So we'll have to see, if it is indeed as good as it looks. But if it is, I think that it's very likely that we're going to be covering this on Wednesday. I'm
Yeah,
spending a lot of time on it.
absolutely. And Onakazi says, "Ain't nothing gonna break your stride. Ain't nothing gonna slow you down. Oh no."
Uh-oh.
He's talking about stride, and it's all fast paced. And I guess this one looks pretty fast paced as well.
Yeah, dude, it looks like insanity. Lots of enemies on screen at once. Very colorful, unique environments and characters. These guys look like they're into eating chemicals a lot. And
Speaking of eating chemicals, Wolf Raza says the colors in this game make me want to find an LSD dealer, laugh out loud, and I'm not even laughing. This is Colorado time all day. Little cubes and stuff. It's cool.
hell yeah, man, I'm down. I am so down. Anyway, tune in on Wednesday. I think the embargo will be up on Wednesday. I'm not sure. It won't be released yet, I don't
Hmm.
think. Let's see. Monday 8, uh, Tuesday 9, Wednesday 10. So yeah, it won't be released yet, but I think the embargo will be up on it, so we should be able to talk about it.
Cool. Sounds good.
Yeah. Anyway, yes, Chris Richardson asks a first-person tower defense game. Yes, this is technically tower defense FPS game.
Mash says
But
there
don't
are
let that.
tower defense elements, so it looks like it's
Yeah.
a crossbreed, right?
Like Jenny and Thaco was kind of a a tower defense game technically, but I mean you're also spell casting and doing a lot of other stuff too. Well, this is taking it even further in that direction by being
Mm.
an action based FPS game.
Mash says yes, it's up on Tuesday, and Wolveraza says I forgot. Is this one co-op or no? And I don't think it's co-op, and which is curious because like I don't understand how we could be. Oh, well, tune in on Wednesday and you'll find out how this will all be possible.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of weird too because I heard somebody, you know, tongue in cheek talking about a game that was under embargo on Twitter yesterday.
Hmm.
And I was sure that they were talking about this game, but then they started talking about multiplayer, and I was like, "Well, wait a minute! Like, this game is
Mm.
listed as a single player game. Is there multiplayer in it? If there is, I don't know,
I don't know.
but I haven't played it yet, so we'll
Yeah.
find out."
So,
Anyway, more on that Wednesday,
yep.
so tune in for that. Um, Obviously, we already talked about Resist coming to us from Binary Meal on this very same day, the 11th, which is Thursday. Only Resist is exclusive to Oculus Quest. And again, amazing looking game. So glad that I don't have to wait to check this one out. Um, yeah, I don't know what else to say that we didn't say just a minute ago. This looks great.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully, we'll get access to it if we haven't already.
Yep. And then last but not least, well, technically not even last, there was actually other releases coming this week. I mean, Space Folk City's coming to Steam this week, as is Madrid Noir. The Secret of Retropolis just dropped on Oculus Quest. There's other stuff, but the last on our list, Gravitational, coming to us from Electric Monkeys on the very same day, the 11th of November, coming to PC VR and PlayStation VR Roots. This is obviously a gravity based puzzle game, which has a very cool and unique look to it.
Yeah, it does look cool. And are you in a wheelchair this whole time?
I'm not sure, but it certainly appears that way, doesn't it?
Yeah, it looks like a lot better wheelchair movement than that other game that we what was that game?
Hey, Wake In.
Yeah, it was a good game, but that was it, man. It's too much work. Wolveraza says so many games, so little money, and that's why if you haven't already before, especially, well, I guess this is a PCVR game. It's not. This is not going to Quest. Then I was gonna say join Mash's group, and you'll probably get some keys, but not of this. But maybe we'll have a key of this at some point. So
Quite possible. Like, it's interesting, man. The timing of this, and I'm sure these guys thought they had it all figured out, right? Like, they're going up against Captain Toonhead, sure, but I mean, Captain Toonhead wasn't originally shooting for this date. They kind of pushed into it, but no big deal. A gravity-based puzzler versus a action FPS on acid, two different crowds, right? Well, then here comes Resist out of nowhere, spoiling the party for everybody. So now, like, you know, many weeks, Gravitational would be high up on my list of stuff that we should probably be covering this week. But now I don't even know when I'll even play this game. Like, it's going to fall to the wayside this week, and who knows if we ever come back around to it.
yeah, absolutely. Well, if they send us a key, we'll absolutely cover it for sure.
It's
Other than
true.
that, it falls in line, to where we get access or want to check it out. Mash says Granny's Grantastic Grand Ventures was a great wheelchair experience. I'll have to take your word for it. I've not tried that one. The title sounds amazing. But yeah, no,
It's
I'm
fantastic.
yeah, exactly. Sounds fantastic. I'll tell you what, I agree. Resist. I didn't even know it existed, and now I'm this close to playing a Spider-Man game mixed with Swarm, which is I arguably what I've said was a contender for Game of the Year just because of the gameplay. I'll tell you what, if this game is as good as I think it's going to be, Swarm is out because this is going to have that much more to it on top of everything else. So
Listen to me, people. Hear me now. I just played Swarm for the first time in like months yesterday. Um, because as we often mention, it's a busy schedule around here. We're always on to the next game, and that's the life that we have chosen. We say the words that Swarm is great, one of the best games on Quest, possible Quest game of the year. We say it all the time. Roots, I'm telling you, you have forgotten how good that game is. It is so fun, dude. That game is so well put together. It's such madness being able to sling yourself around these arenas and rain down on your enemies with dual wielded guns from above. I mean, it's so fun. And get this, I'm a member of their Discord, and I know that they at least have had two multiplayer betas in recent days, if not three. The multiplayer's coming, dude. It's coming soon. And what is already amazing is going to be like my favorite game ever.
that's true. Yeah, I mean, we might be having that conversation. Game of the Year, multiplayer. It's now become the best game ever, even though it's already amazing. And Mash says Swarm is never out. How dare you, Roots?
How dare you?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Greta. I'll try to be better.
Swarm is awesome, and Crashland. It's been such a great year for the Quest platform because I remember, and we'll obviously allude to this a little bit more when we do the intro to the 2021 show. But the attitude about the Quest library today is very different than it
God.
was starting the year. Uh, Amazing work from the people at Oculus as well as all the developers that have been supporting the platform.
Yeah, this time last year, I was telling you there was really no reason, literally no reason to get the Quest 2 in the sense of like no games that were exclusive. And I was saying that there really should be because they're, um, just like any other console, you want people to drive people to it. And they've now not only is there not only a couple, but they're some of the best games on Resident Evil 4, right? So it's crazy.
Anyway, that's going to wrap up what's out this week and bring us into our next reminders. And I said that substance wise, not a lot was going to change about the Sunday show, but there is one little tweak I've made. because we do wish list week after week after week, and people are great about participating in it, even if they aren't so great about sharing what they wish listed. I do think people do go and wish list the games with us as we ask them to, in an attempt to support the awesome developers that bring us these awesome games. But I got thinking recently, how could we do more? You know, wish listing is a good thing because it's something easy that we can do, something fast that means a lot to developers. Is there anything else that we could do that's easy and fast that means a lot to developers? And then it dawned on me there's something that we could do that's easy and fast that would mean way much more to developers than just wish listing a game. And that is something that Roots I've never once done and I'm going to do right now in real time. And I ask you all to help me and join me right now as we do our part to support developers as we either wish list or review a game.
Wow, that's a
And
good idea. I think you were
so
going to tell me
many
to
of
buy
these
one.
games, we could do that too. So many of these games, Roots, are amazing games, but people lean on the ratings and review systems heavily when they decide what they're going to buy versus what they're not going to buy, myself included. Now, with that said, I don't ever review anything, man. I never review anything. Not once have I ever reviewed a game on any of these storefronts. And I know when I think about so many games, um, you know, that are amazing from smaller teams that really don't get the attention they deserve because nobody's reviewing them. It's really sad. So, with that in mind, I ask you all to please. I mean, you don't have to write a book, man. You can write a sentence, leave your rating, and go on, which is what I'm about to do.
Hey, I will. Can I add a caveat for the strangers out there?
Sure.
Put on in there. I heard them talk about it on Virtual Strangers, so I picked up the game, and it is amazing. Check out Virtual Strangers, the best kept secret on YouTube. And
So there, you can help out the developer and help us out at the same time, right?
yeah, hell yeah.
All right, so I am going, and this really no more struggling to figure out which game we're going to wish list Roots. I now have a catalog of games to leave reviews on, and I'm going straight to a game that is underrated and needs more reviews. I'm going to VR Adventure right now
Ooh,
and giving it. I don't know if it'll let you give it like a 4.5 or not, but
the Virtual Strangers star of approval. I don't think you can give half. I think the halves kind of come in between when with all the other reviews averaged, right?
I guess we'll just have to give it 5 stars then, huh?
Yeah. I'll tell you what, this is my favorite VR platformer. Actually, one of my favorite platformers, period. Although, I've been thinking about this, Wes, lately. And my roommate, I'm surprised he hasn't freaked out yet, but what's the name of that PS5 game that's really good? I'll have to look at the stupid name.
PS5? What are you talking about? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what you're getting at here, brother.
Me neither. At this point, what's the name of that stupid game? I don't see the case up there. Anyway, one of the PlayStation 5 games, platformer games, the amazing one that came out, Ratchet and Clank. I haven't barely scratched the surface on that. I need to get into that damn thing. So. Returnal as well. At Ratchet and Clank, Onikazu's got it. Returnal's got that save point now, which you and Masher told me about the other day, which is exciting.
Yeah, I've been thinking about getting back into that myself.
Now that there's a save, right?
No, I can't lose my progress if the power goes out.
There's nothing like having and it's, if you're at that point where you've got hours invested in it, you really believe this is a really good run. And so it's even double-edged worse, right?
All right, there we go. So just like that, 5-star review for VR Adventure. And if just a fraction of you go and do exactly the same thing, then next time someone's in the Quest store looking for a great game, they're going to see Vin, and it's going to be a tangible difference that we can make for these developers.
Yeah, it's
So
the same reason why
the
we started the podcast, right? We wanted to people to know what was good and what's out there, and like you guys can be a part of it. You can directly impact somebody, because I'm the same way, Wes. I don't do reviews, but I lean on them for everything. Like you know what I mean? I've bought so many games because of rave reviews. Why would I not want to review the games that I rave about, like Ven VR?
wife is saying that they've made it too easy. Have you played it? Have you went in there and really tried it? Because I don't agree with that. Like I played Vin, pretty substantially with the camera, with the new camera mode, and I didn't feel like it was all that much easier at all, to be honest. Now they did make it easy when they cut those pieces of the levels out, which that might be what she's talking about.
Yeah.
But the camera mode, I was so happy to have that camera mode, Roots, when I was recording clips for the intro, which I didn't end up actually getting to use any of it yet. But having that camera mode to follow Vin was so cool for recording this footage, because now all those little side areas that you could only see from a distance before, you can now get in that stuff and really see it. And the game we already know is a beautiful game, so to be able to look at it all that much more closely is actually a really cool thing.
That's super cool. Yeah, man. It was already amazing, but now it's even better. Onikazi says it's for Returnal, it's a suspend, so you can take a break. It doesn't save that you can load up if you die. Yeah, no, we don't
Right.
think that you're gonna. It's basically the same thing as if you put it in rest mode. But now I don't. I can actually go play another game and come back to Returnal a different day. I don't have to. I'm not
Exactly.
stuck on that game, because that's how it was before. You could save it or move on to something else. But if you start another game, bam, it's gone. So.
Yeah, Onikazi, we are talking about return. We were talking about Returnal a moment ago when we were talking about the save feature. Which, yeah, you're right. It's not like a game save that you can just load up anytime. But we've all lost our progress on that game for one reason or another. For me, it was an update. My system updated, started the console over, and I lost an awesome run because of it. It's happened to everyone. This is kind of a no-brainer feature that should have been enabled a long time ago. And yeah, that's all we were talking about with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, because it doesn't change anything. There's no change except for the fact that I can now move on to another game and come back rather than just take a break in rest mode. And then now people don't feel like I don't feel obligated to leave it on if I don't want to, which I do. But anyway.
Anyway, let us know in the comments down below what you wish listed, what you reviewed. Hopefully, you did your part to help out the development community. If not, I hope you have trouble going to sleep tonight, you monster.
Yeah. The hell? How dare you?
How dare you?
Crazy.
All right, that brings us to our last reminder this week and every week, and that is how you can do your part to support our channel. So we've been putting all this work in, guys, to shine everything up nice and pretty around here, and it's going to get even better. Again, social media accounts incoming next week. By the time we come back on Wednesday, I'll have an outro to throw to as we say goodbye. We've made it something that you all can be proud of. Now go out into the world and share it with everyone. But if you haven't already, like the video, subscribe, hit the bell. 3 clicks is all it takes, and that's really the building blocks upon which all channels are built. So click the things. If you want to do a little something extra, we say we built this stuff, we shined it up. We didn't really do it. We put in the effort, but you put in the money. And if you want to put in a little bit of extra cash, you can do so by supporting us on Patreon. only $3 a month. We'll give you access to insider updates. It'll give you access to exclusive content. It will give you access to our weekly show notes, all for less than $1 per week. And you get the satisfaction of knowing that your money went to create this beautiful aesthetic that you see before you today.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then there's the Discord. This is our community. This is our home. This is where the conversation continues when the show does not. There's an invitation in the description down below. And when we return here on Wednesday, I imagine the description down below will be somewhat different. The one thing that will remain, though, is the invitation to the Discord. It's where we live. It's where we laugh together, we cry together, we play together, and we invite you to join the family. Yeah, the Virtual Strangers Discord. We'll leave the light on for you. Invitation again down below.
Yeah, lights on. The rest is up to you, right? You gonna come home or not? We're waiting.
Wipe your feet at the door.
That's right. Don't be dirty, bro. Got nice clean carpet.
Anyway, with all of that said, friends, we'd like to thank you all once again for watching. For my friend Roots here, I'm Wes. We'll see you on Wednesday. Go enter the giveaways. Bye now.
Take it easy.